Welcome, dead and lovely listeners, to the most Danzig-lovinest podcast in all the known multiverse. Okay. Oh, it's definitely us. It's either us or Danzig Cast.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty big, too.
Or Glenn Danzig.
Yeah, or Glenn Danzig. Yeah.
He's probably his biggest fan.
I'm talking Dead and Lovely, your favoriteest horror movie review podcast in all the known multiverse. Here with the host with the most, as always, why, it's me, Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steve.
And we have in the studio today a very, very special guest. Why, it's the person who has been crowned Mother of the Year.
No?
One of my bestest friends in all the galaxy. Why, I'm talking about my homegirl, Lindsey. Say what's up, Lindsey.
Hi. That's so sweet. Like, I feel...
Yeah.
You did it. Mother of the Year.
Mother of the Year, Lindsey
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We have a sash and a trophy to present you with later.
Oh my God, like, I was just waiting for someone to come through, like, with the sash and the flowers and like, a bottle
we
of
wanted
champagne.
to wait until after so we could get good pictures.
And,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
sneak my baby in here. And I'm
Sure.
like, oh, dang it. I thought I was getting away from her for an hour.
No, you gotta take pictures.
I've always wanted to get a big check. Just a really big check.
We gotta do that at the Skank Banger show. I will come out in a suit with like some flour under my nose and a big check.
I like it.
It needs to be exactly for how much those big checks cost to make.
Right. This is probably
$36.45.
Yeah, it's because they're like 30, 40 bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, so we broke even. Good deal. Good deal. Well, you guys listening to this show need to know a little bit about old Lindsey here. Lindsey and I have known each other for how long? I mean, back when I had a bowl cut and you were semi-gothic.
Serious.
Right?
I don't know these times.
You had a bowl cut and like clunker shoes.
Yeah, big old clunky
big
shoes.
What?
Yeah, that's right. We met working at a catering service.
At Carson Newman College.
Christian Newman College in Jefferson City. Which I maintain is still probably my least favorite job I think that I've ever had.
Wow. Really?
I hated it so much.
I barely remember that job.
Yeah. For me, it was just like, it was the same thing every fucking day. Like, the only thing that changed is it black pants or khaki pants today?
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise,
I definitely think that you worked there a lot more than I did.
Yeah, probably. I needed the money and stuff, so I think
I'll be
probably
honest with you, serving tables, if I had to choose between two pairs of pants, I'd just quit.
Right? Yeah, fuck it. I'll wear the pants I'm wearing.
Don't make me have to think about this.
Yeah.
Let's say that was probably the year 2003.
I think so, yeah.
What
Yeah, probably.
do you think that we got paid per
Oh
hour?
my God.
I can't remember it all.
Probably $6.50 or something like that, I would say.
$6.25, $6.50
Yeah.
for like
Jesus.
probably 5 hours of just the worst people.
Yeah, and the worst
you had
food.
to wait on.
Yeah, it was
At least they
always
couldn't
the fucking
choose
worst.
what they got.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
that's
right,
nice.
yeah. But it
Who
was
wants coffee at 10 p.m.?
it was just always the same old people and like old ass men with giant ears and noses.
No.
You kind of like take their plate away because they had like one piece of lettuce left on there. They're like, no,
Listen,
I'm
I'm
gonna
not done
finish
with
that. I'm not done. Oh my God, it was the worst. But Lindsey and I, we met there, and then we ended up crossing paths a lot more because we were both in the Knoxville music scene.
Making the music together.
Morristown music
The
scene.
Morristown,
Yeah.
more
You
specifically.
gotta keep it real to your
I was
roots.
going to say, because I remember in 2005, I met both of you.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you guys both play
The downtown.
downtown. Yeah.
I missed the fucking downtown. That place was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was great. So our bands played together a lot. We started hanging out a lot because we had a lot of mutual friends, started having some parties and stuff together. And then I eventually ended up playing temporarily in your old band, where we just totally slummed it and like slept in vans and Walmart parking lots. And
I remember every day you would say, you know what this beats?
beats working. Beats working.
It really does.
Like, you were so positive
Yeah.
about just living in
Yeah,
a van
dude.
in between my brother and Joel.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though, is there's something about being that age where it's like, you know, you're just out of high school, maybe just into college.
Yep.
At most, you're paying rent. And you're just like, I'm out here in, you know, New Mexico or Santa Fe or whatever. I'm a million miles away from home. And this is like before social media and stuff. So when you were out
What did
there,
we
you
do?
were really disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It's like you were in another world.
in a traveling time capsule. It's just
Yeah.
you in these like 3 dudes just stinking and like washing yourself.
Man.
Eating hot and ready pizzas and $5 or $1 5-piece nuggets from Wendy's.
I definitely learned a lot more there than I did in college.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely so.
Now, wait, are we not mentioning the name of the band for a particular reason?
Oh, Vertigo.
Vertigo. Because it's an awesome band.
They were an awesome
I still listen
band.
to Vertigo.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You guys have had 2 albums, or I only have 2. Did you have more?
2
full
lengths,
lengths. Yeah, I think some EPs.
Yeah.
Every now and then, like maybe like once a year, I'll get really drunk.
And listen to it.
Yeah.
Cry.
Do you like a
listen
good,
to
like-
all my old stuff.
It was so good.
Get that good ugly
so
cry going
cool.
on.
Oh.
Do your shoulders move up and down? Like,
My husband and I have this thing where it's like he knows like every month or so I just need to like go to the guest room and just go on a journey through
Right.
time and
Totally.
like relive. I don't know, it's nostalgic. It's
I
nostalgia
do.
is a drug.
It
I
just
do the
pops
same
up
thing.
on because I have them on my iTunes. I just put my iTunes on shuffle. Pops up all the time, honestly, like pretty regular. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I hate is when all of a sudden, like I'm at a place and someone will play it because they think it's
That
funny,
gets really
and I'm
awkward.
Like, I'm not ready for this right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this.
Or the expectant thing where it comes on and then they just kind of like stare at you like, are they realizing it's their song yet? And it's
that's
like,
you.
yes, I knew literally from the second it came on.
At this
Yes.
point, I just
I've
walk
heard it.
out and make it really awkward.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
I would just have to go with, what is this fucking shit? Turn this off. Like, always have to
that
just go
band
straight
sucks.
to, yeah, fuck this stuff. That guitar playing is terrible. I do the nostalgia thing and like listen back to my old band stuff.
Well, Human
I
Poop
do
was
that.
awesome,
Old
man.
Human Poop,
Yeah.
Arc, all
you
that
guys
stuff.
were both in great bands.
Hey,
Like,
you know
don't
what?
have to be.
Human
we did
Fuse
it.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Arc was something I was really, really proud
Right.
of too. Arc did some really, really
Kinda
awesome
like
That was
stuff.
all
secretly-
instrumental, right?
Really
Yeah.
low-key wanted to sing for Arc for a
Oh,
while.
that
Oh,
would've
fuck
been
yeah. I
There's an
high key
alternate
wanted that to
universe
happen.
where
Yeah.
that happened, and we're not sitting here right
I
now.
know, right? Because we've dominated the globe.
Yeah.
No, I still want that to have happened for sure. So we became fast friends, and even after you got out of playing music, and I started playing with a bunch of other bands and doing YouTube and all that jazz, we've just kept in touch and been fast friends ever since. And one of the things that I think really has made us bond together in our post-music scene lives is the world of horror films.
And your wife.
And my wife. Yeah. Because I met you first, I think, and then Kate started going to college with you, right? Or did she meet you first? I can't remember.
Oh, man.
She's shaking her little German fist right now.
I think that I met her first.
Yeah.
And then, no, I met you first. And
Okay.
you told me all about her.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
she came back the next semester and she was like, I'm from New York. And I was like,
I just went to a
Who
liberal
is
arts
this?
college. But then y'all figured it out.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all
That's
just had one good scissoring encounter, and
Yeah.
we're just good ever since then.
That's
I'm
how
pretty-
Ben and I got together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just scissor our balls together. It
You
was
guys
terrible.
met in college.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yeah, we met at
it was like
Walter State.
Yeah, pretty much right after I got home from Russia. Like, yeah, I started at Walter State. And
Yeah.
like one of the first days because I was talking to Holy Fard.
Holy
Ford, and she was like, "This is my friend Ben,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Something about a hooker in my trunk."
Yeah, that's
I
correct.
don't remember what I said, but there was a joke
Yeah.
about a hooker in a
And
trunk.
then I think we probably had a
Yeah.
hot and ready pizza after that
Yep.
too.
And it was like, that's just what we do for the next 2 years.
I'm starting to realize most of my like great relationships are centered around hot and
Little
ready
Caesars.
pizzas.
Wow.
How
pretty
long has
sure.
it been since you've had
Maybe
a hot
2 weeks.
and ready?
2
Really?
3 weeks, yeah.
Man.
I
Spoilers,
had
still
one-
good. Still good.
Okay, I had one maybe a month ago. Emily and I were like, "Fuck it." We didn't want to spend a lot of money, but we did want pizza.
Yeah.
Got it. I hadn't had one in like 6 years maybe, and it was fine. I was
Yeah.
surprised because like I remember being tired of it in college because it was just like
You can
it's like a
overdose on
frozen
that.
pizza, but it's like a frozen pizza.
Yeah, exactly. It's still pizza,
Yeah.
correct? The pizza was the key word right there.
Yeah, but it's not great.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
I remember at the end of my pregnancy just always craving the breadsticks. The
Oh,
little
yeah,
laser
the crazy
breadsticks.
It's that crazy bread.
That is, I would say that is their number one thing,
Yeah.
like that they have over every other pizza place.
What
Is that
Absolutely.
crazy
put
breadsticks?
on that?
I don't know.
It's like so much butter.
yeah. It's probably margarine. I doubt it's even butter, honestly.
Maybe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, bunch of garbage. So Lindsey, whenever you think horror, I want to get down here. I want the fans to know the origins of your horror fascination. Have you always been into horror movies, or is it something that like developed later in life? I know for myself, I grew up so conservative, I wasn't allowed to watch any of that stuff when I was a kid. Where did it start with you?
I definitely did not grow up watching horror movies. I do have a really weird memory of this one that I think eventually I'm going to have to watch it again.
Yeah, okay.
Called The Rejuvenator.
I don't know that one.
I think it came out in 88. And I think it's about the potion of youth or something like that.
Okay.
And so the potion would go out and the lady would get just like scary looking.
Okay.
Huh.
And it really messed me up, and my brother would go around just going, I'm the Rejuvenator.
Dude, what was the deal with older brothers just consistently being the worst? To be like, I know what freaks you out, so I'm going to do that to you all the time.
There's too many stories to get into.
Yeah.
So I didn't really grow up watching horror movies. In high school, I liked Scream and all this stupid
of course.
Slasher ones.
Hey, Scream ain't stupid.
Scream's great,
I'm
but
on board
there
with
were a ton of real bad ones in that time.
Once I started in my early 20s, maybe middle 20s, with being introduced to the ganja.
Oh, look out. Talking about the old sticky icky.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching found footage horror movies.
Yeah.
And for some reason, my mind could bend it to where I thought it was kind of real.
Right,
yeah.
I don't know.
Man.
Like, I barely remember any of them.
Like a Blair Witch and stuff like that.
Like VHS, I think is the one
VHS
that
is
it started
great.
with.
Yeah, VHS.
Oh, man.
It's found footage and also just shorts.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
You
really
don't need
like,
attention.
Yeah.
so
exactly.
It's perfect. And then my husband and I just started like every single night just like watching new horror movies.
Yeah, there's
That's
a period
awesome.
there for a while,
honestly,
yeah.
when we started getting into it, I feel like horror really stepped up their game.
It's gotten so great in the past decade. I would say.
Really. There's been a lot of
Honestly,
good stuff.
when they announced the Oscars that there was going to be a new category, I was like, oh, it's going to be horror.
Yeah, it has to be.
Nope.
I don't even remember what it was. What is it?
It's best not horror movie.
Anything but horror.
Yeah, pretty much. So when you think about some of like your favorite horror flicks that you've watched, where do you kind of put yourself? Like everybody that listens to the show knows that we love like The Shining, Texas Chainsaw, The Witch,
right? Yeah.
A lot of those. What's some of your favorites that come to mind?
Ones that I guess when I was doing music and in college and, trying to be a little more artsy, I really loved Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist.
Yeah.
I didn't like watching any of like the popular ones at the time, like the I hated gory, just for gory's sake movies.
Hostel and stuff.
Ugh, yeah. Though I've been told we need to give that another look.
That's what I've been told. I've never watched it, actually.
Out of all of those was probably
my favorite. I'm going to have to watch that.
That's still
like
never seen
Saw
it.
and
Saw's terrible.
You haven't seen Hostel?
I've never seen Hostel.
I actually think you might like Hostel.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
Maybe we should do that. We'll put it up.
Maybe we are too.
Because this is technically, we're recording this ahead of time, but we are in Grime A.
Yeah, that's true.
This is not a Grime A movie.
We're doing this for Mother's Day.
This is for Mother's Day.
What's grimy? Oh,
we're
like
doing grimy movies.
Grimy
just
movies.
grimy
Yeah, so
movies with
last week was House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Next week we're doing the French movie Frontiers. Maybe we throw a little Hostel in there.
Maybe we do. Seems
We'll
like
let
a
the
pretty
listeners
grimy
vote
kind of
on it.
movie. Yeah, let's do a little vote-ski right there. Let's do a little vote-ski. Okay, so you started getting into those then.
The newer ones that I've really loved is like Hereditary,
and
The Witch.
Yeah.
We watched The Witch together.
Awesome.
Green Room we watched together.
I don't think I could watch that one again.
That was
Dude,
brutal.
I'm telling you, man. Like I talked about on the
Being
episode.
in a band, I mean, it's very real.
It's very
I feel
fucking real.
like I have been in that green room.
I know I have. Absolutely so. Well, especially playing like metal and playing all these scummy places where you show up and there are neo-Nazis and stuff. Fuck, man.
You know who loves metal? Neo-Nazis.
Apparently they do.
Yeah.
Man. So yeah, that movie was rough. The Babadook was one that we watched together.
I was
that's
going
a
to say
great one.
Babadook was an amazing one. The Shining, I can watch once a month.
Yeah, same.
That's just a piece of artwork.
It really is.
Infinitely watchable.
Yeah.
And your wife gave me the book to read a couple years ago, and the book is so different
Yeah, it is.
and so terrifying.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying.
I've
But
heard
the
that.
two things can just stand completely on their own.
Totally agree.
They're so just separate in my mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Made for TV, probably.
Right.
Actually, at the top. Where I lack, I feel like, in horror movies, and you know this because we talk about it all the time, is I really do just need to sit down and watch, like, all the Halloweens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Some of the big franchises.
I haven't seen any. I think I've seen Halloween.
Yeah.
I haven't
just
really
the first one.
Like Hellraiser.
You've never seen Hellraiser?
No.
Oh wow.
Holy shit.
Anything from that time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I'll give you spoilers with pretty much all those series. Watch the first 3 and then expect to be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's basically how they all
go.
go.
With Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, watch the first 4 and then be disappointed.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll be pretty proud of myself if I can watch the first ones.
I like 13th Part 5.
The first Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh yeah, Friday the 13th Part 5 is pretty good.
Yeah.
The first Nightmare on Elm Street, I think you could easily sit through because it's a legit good movie.
Yeah, it's great.
But then after that, you might get real bored with them.
I just don't really like franchisey stuff when it comes to movies.
I get that.
Except for Harry Potter.
Oh,
Of course.
The ultimate franchise. Guys, I need to get me a pull. I feel like I need to wet my whistle. Lindsey has brought us just a bevy of fine selections here from the Merchants of Beer in Knoxville, Tennessee, including one right here that I'm super stoked about. I talked about this a couple weeks ago.
You did.
Whenever we had some Trim Tab beer on the show. This is their Breakfast Hero, which is what is it, Lindsey? It's like a maple coffee donut stout thing. I think it's like 9%.
I think you're supposed to drink it before 10 a.m.
Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Right.
We're missing out.
Damn.
Dude, it's so fucking good.
Hey,
I can't wait for you to try
before
this.
10 a.m. somewhere.
Yeah. Steve, I can't wait for you to try this because it seriously tastes like
I smell it.
a maple donut and a cup of coffee and booze.
Ooh.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
That's nice. It smells real nice and stouty.
About the color of some motor oil.
Yeah,
About the color of some oil.
No light can escape that.
No, it is a black hole. Have you had this before, Lindsey?
I have not.
Oh my god.
I love coffee beers.
Oh, dude, this is gonna get way good to you. Yeah, you're the one that introduced me to that. Gotta get it to get down. I love so much. How good is that? Do you love it?
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
You mentioned gotta get up to get down. It reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't taste donut, but I like it.
I do not taste donut
I'm
either.
happy
Yeah.
I don't taste donut. That's the one
That
thing
would be
where I was
weird,
like,
Yeah. That's the thing is I think really the donut is mainly just there for like the yeast and sugar content, just to
I
make it
wouldn't
ferment
mind
more. You know.
dipping a donut in it.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
I can handle that.
Yeah,
Man,
I'd
this
be
is really good.
I know, right? Because that's the thing is like you think it'd be really heavy considering everything that's in it and the fact that it's like 9% or something. It's actually reasonably light and drinkable.
Yeah, that's nice.
Not bad at all.
Way to go, Trim Tab. This the second beer we've done by them.
Yeah, we had
And
one of
both
their
them have been
IPAs.
great.
Everything I've had from Trim Tab has been phenomenal. So if you guys can find and pick them up, Trim Tab, baby. Trim Tab.
I fucked a ghost.
What have you goons been watching lately? Lindsey, you seen anything good recently?
Oh man. Well, aside from the Beyonce documentary on Netflix,
Is it good?
Do you like Beyonce?
I'm not. Not the biggest fan.
Do you have a heart?
But I'm trying to.
No. I mean, but
I can try to understand.
Respect how hard of a worker she is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
100%.
I mean, the whole thing is phenomenal. It's like at Coachella performance, and she brings out this huge marching band.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just redoes all of her stuff.
That's crazy.
To go with like how African American homecoming is. Like it's just she's amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
So the documentary's good.
It's great, but
Okay.
I mean, like if you're not into it, then
Might
I
not
get
be my
it.
thing.
I get it. It's Beyonce.
Shout out to our resident Beyonce expert, Grayson
She calls
Hester.
herself
True
the
story.
queen. I mean, it's like I get it when people don't get into it. Not really, because I think everyone should eventually get
she's
into
dope.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I watched a documentary that's absolutely amazing called 3 Identical Strangers.
This sounds nuts. You gave me a brief summary there. So this is a true story.
Yeah. I think it was like late 70s. This guy goes to college first day, and he doesn't know what to expect at college, but people are like, hey, how's it going? Like really friendly and acting like they know him.
Yeah.
And then he gets to his dorm room, and someone's like, hey, is that you? I forgot their names. He goes, hey, Chad?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're not Chad.
I'm not Chad.
Oh, my God, come with me. And he, like, goes to the phone, like, some pay phone, and, like, calls his friend Chad, and he's like, hey, you're not going to believe this, but I think I've met your brother. And so he talks to the guy, and he's like, what's your birthday? Same birthday.
That's
like,
insane.
Were you adopted? Yes. And so they meet up, and they have all these news stories about them, and they're on the front page of this paper. And then
Did either of them know that they were adopted?
they knew they were adopted.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't know they had siblings.
No.
That's fucking crazy.
I know.
I bet this happens like way more than we think, too.
That's kind of the whole premise of the documentary, because they're not the only family. But the crazy thing is like a few cities away, this guy picks up a paper and he's like, huh, this is me and this is me.
I look like those guys.
Not twins, triplets. So he calls and like they all meet up and like they become this national news like circus. They're on every single talk show and there's all this crazy footage and it takes like a crazy turn. Like
that's fucking awesome.
It gets
that's so
pretty dark.
Yeah.
Damn, I bet. I gotta watch that. That sounds amazing.
I would definitely suggest watching that one.
Steve, what you been watching, man?
Well, we should point out that we just recorded the Nightmare on Elm Street 4 episode 2 days ago. Yeah. And I mentioned like 6 movies I had watched. I did watch a movie though last night just to have something to talk about. Lizzie on Shudder.
Lizzie.
It's so fucking good.
This is about one Lizzie Borden.
Yeah. You know, the one of 40 Wax fame. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She laid down a whack or two in her time. She did.
So Lizzie is it's about Lizzie Borden. It stars Chloe Sevigny and Kristen Stewart, and it's got other people in there you're gonna recognize.
Does it have vampires and werewolves?
No, but it does have a pretty hot lesbian scene. Like legit. Like I was like there was a lot of sexual tension up to a certain point, and I was like, "Is this going? I think it's going." And when it did, I was like, damn,
that just happened.
But yeah, it's brutal. Like there's some like most of it is just historical drama.
Yeah,
but then you know what happens. Obviously,
she does some murdering, as far as I know.
Or did she?
Twist.
I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and when that was about to come out, I remember just hearing so many ads about it, and completely forgot about it. So I'm glad you brought that up.
You check it out.
I'm going to
have you seen the Christina Ricci one? Christina Ricci, almost said.
Ricci.
Christina Ricci had a Lizzie Borden movie that came out on Lifetime.
No.
It's pretty campy and it's fun though. I thought it was fun. It's campy, stupid fun. Mm-hmm. But this one was just like the real sort of brutal story. Yeah. And man, it's well acted, well directed, just looks great, and they present a theory of what happened that I think seems like really plausible. Yeah.
Might be worth a watch. Is it on old Shudder?
Yeah, streaming on Shudder. It's a Shudder exclusive, and it is the first time I've watched a Shudder exclusive and been like, oh, this is like a fucking film.
Really?
Like a lot of them have been like, they're fine. Like, this is a movie, it's fine, whatever. But this is like a artistic direction and people with talent.
I've heard that like Critters reboot that they just put up is horrible. Is it bad?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I've heard this.
It really didn't start on anything besides Shudder.
No. Well, I mean, because Shudder's owned by AMC, so they technically have a good bit of money behind them. It just seems like they're upstart.
I sat down and watched 3/4 of a movie before I fell asleep in an altered state of consciousness last night. I was kind of disappointed because I thought that it was going to be either a sequel or a prequel to Kramer versus Kramer. It was Freddy versus Jason. It was nothing like Kramer versus Kramer.
What, did they just agree on who got the kid? Or?
Well, there's a feller had knives for fingers.
Yeah.
And a hockey enthusiast.
Okay. And did they just have a meet cute and...
Well, the custody dispute seemed to center more around who gets to murder the children than keep them. Again, very different from what I was anticipating.
You know what? Seems more riveting to me.
It had a Destiny child in it.
It did have a child of Destiny.
Yeah, it had one in there.
Kelly Rowland.
What?
Yeah, dude.
She was all like, Nelly, I love you.
It was fun. I had never watched Freddy vs. Jason before.
It's fun.
Ever.
It is fun.
It's
it really
completely stupid. You should not go into it like expecting a serious like horror movie.
It sounds like sketch comedy. It doesn't sound like a real movie.
Yeah. It really sort of is, because there is a cornfield rave massacre.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. Like I said, I fell asleep. I need to finish it, but
I feel like that's where I should start.
Yeah, maybe you should
kick it off right
Honestly, that is a good introduction to Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger.
I was surprised to see the stuff with like Mrs. Voorhees and stuff showing back up.
Right,
in there.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Good to see her make an appearance. I need to go back and finish it, but it was fun. Now, the reason why we chose Lindsey to be the guest on today's show, we are going to be covering Mother! Exclamation point. Not Mother ellipse. ... Mother! Exclamation point. And the reason we brought Lindsey on the show to do this one is because she herself has a lot of expertise in this area, being the only one in this room who is a mother.
Heyo.
Well, technically,
For about a year
my
now.
dog is here with us, and
Okay,
she apparently
yeah.
had 2 litters of puppies before we adopted her. So
She's kind of.
we'll get her opinion later.
She's a little shy on the mic.
That's true.
A little shy on the mic, but Lindsey has been a mom for actually just past the 1 year mark,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Mom of an adorable baby.
America's
you.
favorite baby.
Yeah, she's so cute.
She's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone says that
Uh-huh.
about their kids, but she's
Yeah, but
the
you're
real
right.
deal.
No, she's right though. Yeah.
She wins.
I meet a lot of people's kids and they're like, "Oh, she's so smart. She's so pretty." And I'm like, "I don't really think so."
My
Yeah.
kid is not smart. She put like she's not. She's a year old. She puts dirt in her mouth.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
she's still
every
alive.
1-year-old,
I have
yeah.
no idea.
That is a good
she
point.
is adorable.
When somebody says their kid is smart, it's like, do they speak language? Do they have like sentences?
Yeah.
Do they have
What books
thoughts
have they
and
written?
ideas?
We
What
got
do
a
you mean
thesis
smart?
I can check out, maybe.
Doesn't eat its own shit? Okay.
Sometimes you hear about like people with really high IQs talking at the age of 1, like saying full
Yeah.
sentences.
Yeah.
Like if my kid started just
I would get
being
freaked
like,
out.
"Hey mom, can I have some food?"
Oh my
get out
god.
of here.
Yeah. Get the
Who are
fuck
you?
out of here.
We don't even have one word yet.
No.
It's fine. Everything's cool.
Yeah.
So because you are clearly the expert on being a mom in this room, Lindsey, I thought before we step into the movie review portion here, as we slip on into the preview palace.
Welcome to the preview palace.
Oh, we got a little musical
Little
echo back
background
there.
music,
Letting
too.
them vocal cords hum over there. I dig it. I thought that you could maybe amaze, amuse, and disgust us with perhaps some facts about motherhood, pregnancy, birth, just the whole gamut of things that we will never experience.
Yeah. Thank God. I'm so happy. I know we're gonna hear some gross stuff, and it's just gonna remind me that that'll never happen to me.
I mean, I will just say right out the gate, like, I cannot even remotely imagine the process of pushing another human
Yes.
life out of you or feeling a human life grow in you.
So
Has to
like,
be.
what's the thing that freaks you out the most, just from what you know?
I mean, seriously, all of it. Like, all of it. Like, whenever. I remember, like, when you were pregnant and, like, you could see, like, a foot or something coming out of your stomach.
No, I'm too chunky for that.
Oh, my God. No, I could see it. And it was so
I've
fucking
blocked
weird.
that out of my memory.
Oh, my God, dude. Like, that weird. Just the thought that,
I
like.
definitely think you felt it one time.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Like, it's bad enough just to think of, like, when you get like a bug bite or a rash or something
Yeah.
like that, and you're like, something is living on my body that isn't usually
finding
there.
a tick and you're like, I was in the
Yeah.
woods like a week ago.
Oh, yeah,
it's been
exactly.
there a week.
Exactly.
Okay, that's like, but 9 months.
Yeah.
And actually, it's 10 months.
And you're feeling it like grow bigger and bigger.
It's
And
9 full months.
I know. I went 10 months. My
Oh.
brother and I both went 10 months, and my sister went 8. So
No.
bunch of overachievers
Overachiever.
over here.
Yeah.
That was comfortable. It was warm in there.
yeah,
It was cold out there.
it was
Stuck
like
a foot
grad
out.
school.
Ugh.
Like I don't have to deal with the
Yeah.
real world yet. Sweet.
And then I seriously just cannot imagine. And I've read, light synopsises of what it's like to give birth, and just the tearing and the ripping and the pain and the blood and the agony. I just can't fucking imagine doing that. Like, there's times where I'm like, I'm thinking about like cutting out an ingrown toenail, and I'm like, I don't know that I can. I just don't know that I can.
I definitely use it as something to motivate me at this point. Like, don't be a little bitch. You
Yeah.
gave birth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Like
you
it'll,
did
it'll
that.
like
Pretty
if I'm
fucking big
working out,
deal.
I'm like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
keep going.
yeah. You've
That's
been
what
through
makes
worse.
me feel like an adult. I definitely feel like having a kid. Like I crossed a line to a different
Oh, I'm sure.
dimension
Yeah.
of like being a better person, maybe.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting. All right.
So
Let's hear.
I kind of saw this coming, so I jotted a few things down. but-
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, one thing that happens when you're pregnant
Number one.
is your bones can loosen.
What the fuck? What do you mean
You too.
loosen?
They all do.
Like, you're talking like your leg bones and stuff. What?
It's mainly around the crotch area.
Yeah, yeah.
But
okay.
it's due to a hormone called, get this, relaxin'.
Relaxing like Michael Jackson, bro.
Hey, get me some of that relaxing.
So basically, its job is to relax.
Yeah.
They couldn't come up. Sorry, you couldn't come up. You're a scientist. You couldn't come up with a better fucking name. What do we call it? Well, it relaxes the bones in the joint. I don't fucking relaxing. I don't know, man.
Like I just see a
picture
like of a weird crude drawing of a hormone, just like with like sunglasses on and his
Chilling.
feet kicked up.
Yeah.
Like, relaxing the hormone. Get to know the hormones in your body.
The capillary bed, an old nephron.
Oh yeah,
that we did in
nephron
college.
sleeping on his capillary bed.
Okay, so relaxing happens. Your bones are loosening. Is this something you felt?
Mostly it happens, like around the pelvis area.
Yeah.
And you definitely kind of, like your body
Oh,
feels
is that-
strange, but...
Is that why the hips sort of widen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
so the
they
baby
don't
can get out.
really go back. Hips get a little wider. And honestly, like I pulled a rib muscle towards the
damn.
end of my pregnancy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And
Yeah.
it felt like I had been stabbed. And I think it's because of relaxing. I think that I think that
That's
the
crazy.
baby kicked
Yeah.
me.
Broke your rib or fucked up your rib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Because
I would have
everything
been...
is like relaxed.
I'd have been walking around all day, every day, being like,
My
man,
bones are loose."
this relaxing's got me feeling pretty uptight. Huh? I think it's kind of a misnomer, you know what I mean?
Am I right? Am I right?
This is why dads can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would
The
just
dad
be
jokes.
9 months of dad jokes.
9 months of dad jokes. It would just be
no,
the
you guys
worst.
would be just crying on the floor.
That's true.
Absolutely.
and
100%.
also, like, no one would have anything against abortion.
No one would. Absolutely no one would.
Abso-fucking-lutely not.
I guarantee you make politicians feel 5 seconds of pregnancy. They'd be like, fuck that.
Get it out.
No more of it.
Okay, so you got the relaxing. Your bones are just loosening up. That is wild,
That
man.
is insane.
I did not know about that.
Okay, this one is pretty amazing.
Number 2.
Your blood increases
Oh boy, more blood.
You're
by
just a blood bag.
50%.
Wait, what?
Your blood doubles.
That's a lot of blood to have up in a person.
Right? So I Googled, like, after I read this, I was like, okay, I'm walking around with, like, double blood.
Double blood.
what's-
Double blood, they
what's-
call me.
What's normal blood?
Yeah.
1.5 gallons
So, Jesus.
is a normal human, like 1.2 to 1.5
so you
gallons.
go up
so
to like
stand up next to stand next to a pregnant lady. She's like
2-point
hauling
math.
around like
Yeah.
3 gallons of blood in her body.
insane.
God, where does it all go?
the baby.
I mean, yeah.
Baby's
the-
just sucking that blood
Full of
down.
blood.
Mhm.
Oh my God, double
Babies are
stuffed
vampires.
Double stuffed mommios. Huh? Am I right? Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chock full of blood.
I read this breakdown of like what all is pregnancy weight, and like a good like 10% is blood.
That's
Holy
insane.
shit.
And okay, so your skeleton is trying to escape you, and your blood is like, we'll take over.
We got this.
Full blood. I'm just a body full of blood.
Why haven't we seen like vampires really taking advantage of this? That'd be like a family
That would be a
feast.
great movie.
Wow.
You know?
Also, why aren't pregnant ladies like riding the Tour de France? Because like
Yeah,
bikers,
they're
blood
doped up like crazy.
The bikers put a ton of blood into themselves.
yeah.
Because it carries oxygen better.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a
That's
pregnant
so
lady tour.
gross.
Yeah.
I'm ready for my blood.
Yeah.
That's
God,
amazing.
gross.
For
Yeah,
my
just get
blood.
pregnant.
God, you know what's the worst part of that is I immediately thought you'd get used to it, and then I was like, you'd get used to it. You get
Yeah,
used
in a
to
bad
people
way.
filling you with blood. What?
Blood me up, bro. Get it in me. Got a big race tomorrow, bro.
Cool.
Ugh. Brutal, man.
So, it honestly, so all this double blood, I'm pretty sure it all leaves like during birth.
Yeah, just all at once.
Is it just like a Cannibal Corpse album cover? Just fucking massacre.
I
or what?
wasn't looking,
Yeah.
but the thing
You
that
had
I
the
was
worst seat in the house for that.
Yeah, that's true.
I felt pretty prepared.
Yeah.
I went into it with a very open mind, like
Okay.
I'm just on this journey. Like I sound like a fucking hippie. I'm on this journey and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like
Yeah.
a baby is gonna come out of me.
That is
some
a kind
way.
of cool thing to be able to abandon yourself to something like that, where it's
Yeah.
like you're cool with the result. You hate the idea of what's going to happen, but it's like, well, it's going to happen. then.
Everything
My
was
mind
pretty
can't do
cool
that.
until after, and they push on your stomach
Yeah.
to get your uterus to contract
Ew.
and to get it to, so like honestly it's like
They're just
you
like
remember
pushing the extra stuff
those
at you.
weird pulls when you were a kid that would like the edge would bend and like all of a sudden like a little bit of gush of water would come out. Like they would just push down on my stomach and it felt like so much liquid.
Oh
I was
my
not
God.
prepared for like my water bed belly of just
Holy
blood.
moly.
Because you're walking around, you have a human
That's
in there,
crazy.
it's gone, and all of a sudden, like, they're just pushing blood out.
Well, I hadn't thought about it, but it's like, yeah, there's probably still some gunk and fluid,
All
and residue and so forth in there.
Yeah, in movies, man, it's so...
Yeah, it's just over.
Pretty
Here's
tidy.
the baby, clean
Yeah, pretty
and
tidy.
eyes open, looking
I was in
normal.
labor for 3 days, and that
Yeah.
was normal.
Yeah.
That was a
Jesus
normal
Christ.
labor. Thank goodness for drugs.
Can you
Good
imagine
Lord.
that? Just getting punched in the stomach every few minutes
No.
for 3 days?
No, absolutely not.
I remember saying to my nurse, "Will you please stop? I don't want you to do that anymore. I feel like I need to give consent for this." No, we have to do this. Like she was just pushing.
Oh my
Down.
God.
That's
It was
also
bad.
Was
like,
there an accompanying sound effect by chance?
oh, there's gotta be
whoop-
splorches
I
and
hope
shit.
it was a whoopee cushion like sound. You know?
I mean, it just like what the pool sounded like.
Yeah,
Just like the pool.
Just like a gush.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, I was prepared for everything up until like it was actually over. Because the epidural wore off right at the end.
Oh Lord.
Like the timing couldn't
That's
have been
real
any
fun.
more perfect.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ, man. Woof.
So, number 3 has to do with all that amount of blood. This did not happen to me.
Okay.
But
Oh, no.
it's something that can happen. It is called Chadwick sign.
Chadwick,
Oh.
it sounds quite sophisticated.
Oh, yes.
Fuzby, bring the ledger. We have to
Yes.
talk about Chadwick.
AKA blue vagina.
Whoa.
Oh.
Okay, not sophisticated. Not for the young
Wait,
sophisticated.
Blue,
Blue?
blue.
Vagina.
Not to be confused with blue waffle.
Right.
Yeah.
A fictional
Yeah.
STD.
If you don't know what that is, please don't look it up.
Just don't.
No.
Or Eiffel 65 blue.
Also,
Very
don't
different
look that up.
Yeah, don't look that up either. Yeah, nobody needs to be exposed to that.
I
Still.
remember hearing that on Ecstasy and being like, what the
So, what makes a person get a blue vagina?
All the extra blood.
What?
What?
Like,
Okay.
it is exactly what it sounds like. Your
Yeah.
vagina turns blue
I mean, like
because
puffy, I would
of
imagine.
the increased blood flow.
Get
It's
the
a
old
bluish
Smurf puss.
discoloration.
The old Smurf puss.
You know, I didn't
Jeez.
get a mirror down there, but I don't think it happened to
Okay.
me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's rare or not.
Yeah, is it something to worry about?
I hope all of our listeners go after this and ask their moms, Mom, did you get
Did
the
you have blue?
the
Do you have
blue
Chadwick's
vagina?
sign?
Yeah.
Since we're on the color blue,
Uh-huh.
there was this phenomenon that happened a few years ago. Now that we have the internet, we
Yeah.
can all share things.
Right.
And so someone posted on one, there's tons of forums for pregnant women to like talk to other pregnant women, which is a great resource.
Yeah.
There was one in particular on Reddit that I loved getting on where it was people that were due the same time as me. So we kind of
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, you're going through that too.
That's cool.
But this woman online said, hey, has anyone noticed that their toilet seat is turning blue?
What? What the fuck?
And like 2 months later, someone was like, oh my God, you too? And you're pregnant? What is this about? And then
What the
all
fuck
of a
does that
sudden,
mean?
all of a sudden, people were coming out of the woodwork,
Like,
like
"Me
with
too."
pictures of their toilet seats. And they finally tracked it down to this one type of prenatal vitamin that was like making their, like something to do with their pH level or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Whoa.
how they're sweating, it turned their
No
toilet
way.
seats blue.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
That is so crazy.
So that's not really like gross or gory or anything, but just
It's weird.
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't fucking know about that.
Yeah.
really
Weird, wild stuff. Weird, wild stuff.
Yes. Yes.
I guess one of the funniest things that happened to me that I did not think about
Yeah.
was, so when you get an epidural,
Uh-huh.
like everything is completely numb.
They like shoot you in like the spine.
Yeah.
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 It's a little scary.
Yeah, that is
But you're
scary.
in so
Yeah.
much pain at that point.
You're like, I'm willing
Fuck
to.
Yeah, you're like, bring it. It's fine. I need
If you're
sleep.
telling me I might be paralyzed from the waist down, great.
Fine.
So like you can't even tell when you've got one in the chamber.
Yeah.
Like I was just farting, like no control over it
It's just so,
whatsoever. It was
Just
like
trumpeting that baby's arrival into the
I
world
wish it
with
was, like,
song.
a good fart, but it was just like.
It's like little kitties,
Like,
little kittens.
ghosts, like,
Yeah.
and then like my father-in-law would come in and I just said, "Hey, by the way, I'm farting and I can't control it, so if it happens, I apologize. They're not
That's
really
what it is.
stinking. I haven't eaten in 3 days."
Once again, I'm just imagining if it was just old redneck dudes giving birth. They were uncontrollably farting. Them going, "This place is infested with barking spiders. Y'all need to tighten up these floorboards in here, Doc." It's like it would be non-stop.
Actually, the I guess it'd be paternity ward at that point. That'd
Yeah.
probably be a blast. Honestly.
Hey, give me a cold one there, doctor. I'm just kidding. Bring some ice chips. I know I can't have
No,
it.
it would be fucking terrible. Everybody would be crying because men are so weak. Like, the moment I get sick, I'm like, take care of me.
One of those things that I had just never even considered because I just never really had thought about what it must be like to push a human out of you. I guess it's really normal for like women to just shit while they give birth to a kid.
That was my next point. I was
Yes.
like, oh, so
Perfect
we're
transition.
talking about
10 out of 10.
farting. Let's move on to pooping.
Yeah.
One thing leads to another.
I 100% for months was like, I'm gonna poop in front of people,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Like
Yeah.
I just had to mentally prepare to poop because when you're pushing your baby out there, like push like you're pooping, and so every time that I pooped while I was pregnant,
Yeah.
I was like,
Practice time.
remember this feeling right now. Deep down inside,
Yeah.
what are you doing right now? Close your eyes and focus. And it's like the number one advice I would ever give any pregnant lady is like, every time you sit on that shitter,
You're practicing.
you just think about everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And of course, like, I was like, maybe I should lay down and try to poop because I won't be laying down. But I didn't.
You know, it's been a long time since I've done that, so
Laid down and pooped.
yeah, I had to get a lay down.
Lay down.
poop.
Like, how would you even do that? Would you have to lay in the shower and pick it up?
I think I'd go out in the yard. I'd go out in the yard, I think.
You take
Yeah.
it to the grass.
Yeah, exactly. Go out there in the grass. Get down and gravel. He's cleaned up, I guess.
There's got to be a lay down toilet where you just lay down and there's just the hole where your ass is.
Yeah. Just
That would be
take
great.
it easy on that thing.
Poop will always be funny.
It is. It's always funny.
Whenever you were taking a shit while you were pregnant, were you ever like, I hope I don't push the baby out by accident?
No, it's very hard.
Yeah. Push a baby out.
Second baby is supposedly easier.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, I guess like your bones will have adjusted already,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. A lot of when people give birth in cars, it's always like second, third baby.
Huh.
Every time that I see a car speeding down the interstate, to this day,
You assume it's a baby.
and they have their flashers on, I'm like, there's a lady in the backseat going,
Yeah. I get the hell out of
drive
the way.
faster! I just assume that's what's going on.
I've learned as an adult, if somebody's speeding, just get the hell out of the way.
fuck
Like,
out of the way.
I remember like always getting frustrated by it when I was a teenager. It's like, fuck you, I'll drive as fast as you. And it's
Yeah.
like, he's going somewhere. I'm not.
That guy might have diarrhea. He
might
needs to
have to
get
shit.
home.
Like,
He needs to
seriously,
get,
I've been
get
there.
out of the way. So when the time came,
I did not poop.
you did not.
Oh, wow.
I was so impressed by myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't for
Fucking did
like,
it.
lack of trying because the whole time I was trying to poop.
Did you ever reach a point where you're like, maybe I'll just try to?
What?
I mean, I was
Yeah.
the whole time I was like, push like you're
Push that poop out.
pooping.
Yeah.
push like you're pooping.
Get that baby on out. Get your soundtrack on.
No, another thing about poop though is that a baby's first poop is called meconium.
I knew this.
It's called what?
And it's
Meconium.
disgusting.
And it is like this dark green tar-like substance,
I've
and
heard
my
tell of
baby
this.
shat all over my chest.
That's fun.
So what they do
Hi,
after
Mom.
you
Cleveland Steamer.
after after you give birth,
adjustment.
they put the baby around your chest
Yeah,
because you're
the
supposed
chest
to have
hair.
like, yeah, that's a thing.
yeah.
So I'm like in shock, and the baby's just shitting all over me, and the nurse is like, "Oh my gosh, she's pooping a lot," and I'm like, "Who am I right now?" Like just in shock. Like, did I just really do this?
This is what I
Covered in
signed.
Am I
someone else's
living
shit.
inside of this body? Is this real life?
Yeah.
Birth is crazy.
Oh my god.
Actually,
man.
also pretty crazy I was born not breathing because I was choking on
Poop?
my own poop.
Yeah.
No shit.
That
Really?
Literal shit eater.
That's
Yeah.
so metal.
That happens a lot with twins, too,
That's so
where one will be
G.G.
choking
Allen.
on the
Yeah.
other ones. Yeah.
It's total G.G. Allen
Yeah.
stuff for sure.
I was a
That's
punk rock baby.
That's pretty fucking punk rock.
But you can, I mean,
I'm
like,
hoping that your crib,
it can be bad.
it didn't have like sheets on the mattress. It was just a bare mattress in your crib.
Yeah.
Super punk rock.
Yeah. Just cut yourself and went to bed.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you as you're a baby, you have a lot of like what do they call those, like baby pins and stuff around all the time too.
I was like, where can we go with this? The baby pins.
Yeah, exactly.
Little shit anarchy sign on the wall.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, that baby's going to be hard to raise.
Punk rock baby.
One last thing about
Let's hear it.
All right,
pooping
give me one more
is this is not something they tell you about. Is
Secret
that
stuff.
the postpartum poop.
Oh.
This
So,
is the thing.
Right.
think about it.
Uh-huh.
You gave birth.
Yeah.
Right.
Most women do not get out of that without stitches.
Right.
Without tearing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And again, that's the word that really makes my skin just crawl.
Stitches?
Tearing.
ring.
Oh, the
Tearing.
yeah, it tears.
The
yeah.
tearing.
So when our mothers, I don't know if your mom had C-section or
No. Yeah.
No, my mom didn't.
Kate's mom did.
so during that time, most doctors just automatically did this thing called episiotomy,
Right.
where they
snip it.
they cut you like preemptively,
Yeah.
just so you don't tear, and it can be like a perfect line that they can
Yeah, it's
stitch
easier
up.
to
Oh,
fix.
like straight to your butthole.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus God.
They just cut your perineum.
So
Oh God! Oh, my toes
they
are
don't,
my
they
toes
don't
are
do
curling
that,
up right
they don't
now.
do that anymore unless
shit.
they absolutely have to. But that postpartum poop, it's like a tentative terror where you're just like,
Oh my
it's gonna
God.
happen, and you have to go back to the doctor if you don't poop in a week. And so I was on like day 7, just like, I've got to do it. Like I knew I had to poop. Like I had wet pad, kept it in the freezer, and I was like, it's time.
Oh.
And so I had this frozen pad that I was putting counter pressure on my taint
Oh my God!
so my stitches wouldn't rip. And
That's
just,
awesome.
Oh God, this is so bad.
for like it was
Ow.
the worst thing ever because I didn't have an epidural. Like
Holy
just for
shit.
30 minutes,
Oh.
just sweating, just like, oh God, just let it get past the worst part.
So do some women like re-rip that shit?
I mean, I'm sure it's happened because they weren't. Yeah, I don't know.
God.
Sure, I don't know.
Oh,
I bet
that's so fucking
like
bad.
all the muscles down there would be just fucking exhausted
It
too.
was
Good thing you don't
not
have a bunch of
cool.
nerve endings around your pelvic area, right?
You do have a few.
Oh yeah. Actually, the most in your whole body.
Not a ton of
Right.
pain receptors though. So
No,
that's good.
certainly not.
I went into
my
it thinking it was
God.
going to be so much worse than it was.
Yeah.
That's so.
That's how I went
bad.
into birth too. I mean, I kind of lucked out. Pushing was not hard. I think you saw the worst part. I think was the feet swelling. Honestly.
Oh.
no,
Dude, you had the crazy feet. Lindsay had like Shrek feet.
Oh damn.
It was It was
was
like
crazy.
Aunt Marge from Harry Potter when she
Yeah.
like flew. I mean, it was
Yeah.
bad.
You look totally normal, and then you
It-
just had these like big like Polish man
It
feet.
hurt. It felt like needles. Just every step I took, just needles.
God.
It looked like you could have about popped them. Like
All
you
the
know?
crotch ripping was fine with me, but needle feet, I'm like, oh no.
Actually, the worst thing was this thing called a folly bulb, and
That
it was
sounds like
the-
a British like children's ride or something.
Yeah.
a folly bulb. It was the
Jump on the folly bulb.
it was the thing that I read about that I was not. I was like, well, I'll just say no to this.
What is
There's
that?
no way that this is gonna happen to me. Like, I was more prepared for a C-section than this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why it freaked me out so much, but it's to get you to dilate.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They stick a catheter past your cervix.
Okay.
That's further than you go during sex.
Okay.
Yeah.
You keep going
Well,
inside of your body.
Maybe further than you do.
If you went that
for
far during
yourself.
sex, no one would be happy about it.
Get the fuck out. This sucks.
So they stick that through there and they fill it with a saline solution
Oh.
to rapidly dilate you.
Wow.
I have heard of this.
It's supposed to be easier, I guess, if you're already kind of dilated a little bit, but I was closed like a trap. They just shut up.
yeah.
my baby did not want to come out.
That
So
doesn't
I was
sound
climbing the walls,
Yeah.
and they could not get it in there. They kept trying, and they're like, "Go to your happy place." And I was like, I knew I was gonna get an epidural. I did not mentally prepare for having to go to a happy place. I don't know what
Yeah.
a happy place
Right.
is right now.
You came in there to take a shit and
And
have a baby.
They were shit on a baby. They were like, "Okay, we're gonna give you a 20-minute rest, and we're gonna try again. Do you want
Wow.
something in your IV for the pain?" I was like, "Give me the drugs,
All of it.
absolutely right
Yeah.
now."
Yeah.
And they gave me something akin to morphine, and second go was
Way easier.
it was awful, but at least I was high as all get out.
Yeah. Higher than eagle tits.
And
Yep.
I stayed high for the next 2 days until I gave birth.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, they
That's
listen.
that
some
helps,
long lasting
yeah.
shit.
Every hour they're like, "You want more?" "Yeah." "Is it gonna hurt the
Yes,
baby?"
I
"No,
do.
she's all right." "All right, cool.
All right, then, bring it
Give
on.
it to me. I have been sober for 9 months." For the drugs. I mean, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's more
That
than
is
enough, honestly. That
Crazy
is-
shit. It's just like every time you think you know everything there is that happens to a woman, like while she's pregnant and giving birth, there's always something else. And it it really makes it so real to me knowing all this stuff and being like, and then my mom still liked me.
Listen, we give to keep life going.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
It's like the movie.
Kind of like the
Just
movie,
like
you
the
could
movie.
say. But it's like that's the kind of thing where I realize how much restraint like our moms had when we were like 13 or 14, and we were like, "Get out of my room, Lee." Whoa. It's like at that point, if I was a parent, I would have been like, "You came out and you ripped my fucking pussy to my asshole, you little piece of shit."
I don't know if I've ever called my mom by her first name. Except as a joke.
I don't know if I have.
I never did that, like, Tammy? I think it's because it's the name. That name, like, you can't say it in a way where it's
gonna
like,
say,
fuck you.
Calling anybody Tammy just
Yeah.
seems kind of disrespectful.
It does.
It's like, what did you say to me? Oh, that's my name. Tammy.
Oh, all right.
I don't know many Tammys, but I met one working at Dollywood, and she
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah?
My mom is also awesome. She didn't work at Dollywood, though.
A party Tammy.
Yeah. Oh, but also my mom she's not Tamara. Her name is Tammy.
Tamara.
Yeah.
Is that what Tammy is short for?
I
What?
didn't know that either.
Did this just expand my world?
Never thought about the name Tammy.
Yeah, it's not a name you
No.
deal with a lot.
Just at Dollywood.
Just at Dollywood. Or if you run into like a Christian pastor's wife, she's probably a Tammy.
She's probably Tammy.
Yeah.
It just makes me think about Parks and Rec. Tammy 1 and Tammy 2.
Yeah.
That's what I think about. All right, the subject of our show today is Mosea from 2017. Is that right?
2017.
Directed by one Darren Aronofsky.
Yep.
There.
Now, let me ask you guys, is this the first time y'all had seen this little pellicula, Steve?
That was the first time I'd seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it and then just like kept sort of putting it off.
Yeah.
And then when we decided we were going to do this, I was like, oh, great. Finally get an opportunity to watch it.
Right. Lindsay, when's the first time you watched this?
5 or 6 months pregnant.
Oh,
In the
Jesus
theater.
Christ.
I know.
Oh, talk about the wrong time to do that. Holy shit. What was that like?
I think I was like, man, now that I think about it, this is a weird movie for me to see. I really hope baby doesn't die in this movie.
Oops, dash.
Oopsie baby. Oopsie baby. And I'll say, too, before we get too much deeper in here, we're going to be spoiling the shit out of this movie.
Yeah, obviously.
That's what we always do here on this show. No, it's okay. It's still okay. But I just want to say, before we get a little bit deeper into it, for those of you guys who have listened to all this and they're like, I just want to know if I should watch the movie or not. I think they should watch the movie.
Yeah, go watch the movie.
You think they should watch the movie?
I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Get high and watch it.
Yeah, get high and
Don't
watch it.
do it. Yeah,
I
do
did,
it,
though.
Do it. Get
Do
it.
it. Yeah,
That's
don't, but
awesome.
do it. Yeah, but do it.
But definitely do it that
Definitely
way.
do it.
Maybe
Yeah.
don't be pregnant and watch it.
So
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll co-sign that. Don't get pregnant just to watch this movie.
And I'll say that this movie might not be for everyone. In fact, I know it's not
Yeah.
because it got horrible reviews and stuff. But if you're very sensitive about maybe violence towards babies and women and stuff, this might be a really tough watch for you.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm ultra sensitive to those things, and it was still a tough watch.
It's yeah. There are moments, we'll get into it later, but there are moments in this where I was like, God damn, this is fucking rough.
I mean, normally, like in a horror movie, you expect some violence towards somebody, and in this case, it's a baby and a woman.
Yeah.
But the violence is particularly
pretty
real.
unnerving, pretty jarring, pretty
it feels
realistic.
Gross.
So you watched this the first time while you were pregnant.
Purgante.
And then you've watched it since, right? This is kind of one of those rewatchers. It's like pretty much everybody says you need at least 2 views.
Yeah.
On this.
Yeah, when I watched it, I definitely hadn't read anything about it, and so I was like, well, this is probably going to have to mean something halfway through. I was like, I'm not getting the whole gist of this. And so afterwards, I read a little bit about it, and I was like, okay. And then was super excited when it came out on iTunes and bought it immediately and watched it again. Then was like, probably not going to watch that again. And then your wife came over, and I watched it with her.
Yeah.
And then you asked me to do this podcast, and I begrudgingly
watched
it like 20 minutes over 5 days. Like, that's all I can do today.
Yeah.
It's a slog. Like, it's a tough watch because you can really feel it.
Yeah. This is in that basket of movies that I would say is like one of those best movies that I never really want to watch again.
Yeah.
It's like you don't really need to watch. I don't know. First thing that comes to mind is like, The Green Mile or something. Like, I watch that all the time. It's like, it's amazing, but it's just fucking brutal. And
that's a once every
damn
3-year one.
Yeah.
I think Mother might be 2 and done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might revisit it in like 10 years.
Yeah.
I think it should become a Mother's Day tradition.
Oh my God.
Mom, let's sit down and watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking the other day about Easter traditions, and I think it would be funny to like crucify a hare.
Okay. All right, then. Maybe that's a thing.
We're just
that
talking
money.
about like messed up traditions.
Yeah.
Get a
Wait, have
bunny.
you seen Holidays, the anthology movie Holidays?
No.
Oh,
You should watch that and watch the
Ooh.
Easter section.
Oh my
You'll
God.
like it.
I want to watch it
I'm
with you.
excited.
It's so fucking
Okay.
awesome. Yeah, Holidays. It's usually on Netflix.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Holidays
all the
is
time.
great.
So I watched this for the first time, probably about 4 or 5 days ago. And I went into it. I'll tell you this. All that I knew about it is I knew it was Aronofsky. So I was like, it's going to be kind of artsy and kind of weird, probably. Probably kind of dark and depressing.
Yeah.
And I knew, just through social media and shit like that, I knew that people ate a baby, but not really like in that fat bastard cute way.
Yeah, not in the cute way of eating a baby.
Yeah.
Why did they never have the scene where you just see a brutal scene of fat bastard actually eating a baby and no one is laughing?
It just gets really real. Yeah, I don't know about that. But I went into it just knowing that happens, but not knowing anything else about the movie. So whenever the movie started and it's like, okay, I know end result is baby gets eaten. Mm-hmm. How does it get there? That's what I was kind of watching.
And that wasn't even the end result.
That wasn't even
that
the
was
end
just
result,
an
no.
event.
Yeah, something that happens in the movie. I was thinking going into this that this was maybe like a weird like cult scenario, and these people that Javier Bardem just keeps letting into the house are in on some kind of conspiracy, like a Rosemary's Baby kind of thing.
Yeah.
So going into it, I was watching for those things, and then got completely sidetracked and distracted by this complete other storyline that I saw into it. And it did not go where I thought that it would, but I thought it was fucking amazing. I really, really did.
I really enjoyed it too.
Now, I assume this isn't the first Darren Aronofsky movie that we've all seen.
Oh no.
Yeah. I've seen all but Noah.
I think I would have been like one of those people that was mad at it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you
I
had never
didn't know
seen
anything
it.
about the director.
This would probably be a pretty steep learning curve to start here, I would say. So
But-
you've seen everything but Noah?
Yeah, so if you've seen like The Fountain or Black Swan, like going into this, you know sort of what to expect. But it's a little more close than most Aronofsky movies because everything happens in one house.
Yeah. Super small cast.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, I mean, there are a ton of people, and they all have names. If you watch the credits, they all have titles. It's insane. But yeah, it's pretty small central cast. But yeah, it's so much because like Pie was like all over New York City.
I've
I
never
remember.
seen Pie. I've never
Requiem
fucking
for
seen
a
it.
Dream, like they go
Oh
all
my God,
over
yeah.
the place. Like,
Requiem is like again on that list of like greatest movies I never need to watch again ever.
Right.
It's just so fucking
They
hard
do
to
not
watch.
glorify drugs in that
no,
movie.
they don't.
No.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. But you know, it's
But-
like that's just not one of those movies I can sit and fucking watch. It's absolutely punishing. You know.
It's tough. I like it. I like
can
it a lot.
I can
I could
rewatch
rewatch it,
Requiem.
but
Yeah.
it's a tough one.
I have to be in a good place in my life, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to be brought down a
Yeah.
peg or two.
Yeah, I
Basically,
can
you
take
just
this.
have to test it in your brain. Just go ass to ass,
Oh my
and if you
God.
feel fine, just go ahead and watch it.
I think it's funny though that movie is such this like artfully done, amazing piece about drug abuse and all that stuff, and what we really all took from it
Is
is
ass to ass.
ass to ass.
Yeah.
I didn't take it out for air.
That guy just seems so excited for ass to ass though.
Hey, who isn't?
I mean, it's like he never got to see ass to ass at home. He's like, I'm out with the boys.
His wife was always like, no.
No ass to ass here, John. And he's like, you know what? I'm here with the boys. The wife ain't
Finally.
around. Finally.
Finally, I'm at the right party.
Ass to ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Requiem's amazing. I've seen, The Fountain I've seen. I think The Fountain's awesome.
Yeah, I like
I
the
think-
fountain.
Since we've been talking about it, I really want to rewatch that movie
Yeah.
very soon.
Yeah, The Fountain's really cool. Noah, I thought was stupid. I really
haven't
hated
watched
I
it.
don't
it.
think I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I have no desire.
It's
That,
just
that was
really
my thing
dumb.
too.
I think
It's
it
just
was
like
a big waste of money.
It
Yeah.
was. It absolutely was. Really dumb movie.
I mean, and since we watched this movie, we've seen his take on the flood. So
Yeah, exactly. Already
We've
seen that.
before.
Have you seen The Wrestler? The Razzler?
Yeah. What am I?
You seen that?
Lame?
Amazing. Amazing.
It's fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
It's one where I forgot that was him. So, like,
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
have as much of the Aronofsky flair to it, but it's also
More subtle, yeah.
It's also as dark as almost as dark as Requiem for a Dream, I would say.
It
Like
is a
it's
bleak
like
movie, yeah.
this is what some of those people would be like in 20 years. Like
Yeah,
this is what
really. Yeah,
they're
this
going
is
to be
kind
going
of the
through.
to be
yeah.
continued of that.
So it's just bleak, but
yeah.
god damn, it's so good.
It is.
it's so
It's
good.
an
I
amazing
know. I was
movie,
just sitting there
man.
thinking about, like, all the the performances that
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke and
He's so
Marissa
good.
Tomei,
Uh-huh.
just unbelievable.
Yeah. Dude, Marissa Tomei is fucking awesome.
She's the best.
She is
cute.
awesome.
I love
she is
her,
a
yeah.
She has she's like the
No.
Paul Rudd of, like,
Yeah.
female
Of
actresses.
ladies.
Of ladies.
They
Of
should
ladies.
they should be forced to have a baby because it might be immortal.
Or it might
No
come out
doubt.
like Benjamin Butney.
Oh damn! Comes out looking like old ass Brad Pitt.
Yow! Robert Redford? What? And I've seen Black Swan. I enjoyed Black Swan.
Oh, yeah, Black
a
Swan's
lot.
great.
I think that's my favorite that he's done.
Yeah.
I think it might be. Yeah, it's either that or the wrestler
I
for
think
me.
The Wrestler is probably the one for me, I
Really?
would say. Yeah. But Black Swan was great. I felt like that was kind of what,
Yeah.
with ballet and dance
Oh,
and
it was
stuff.
Suspiria.
Yeah. I felt like Suspiria took a lot of notes from Black Swan.
Yeah, I
That
think
was
so.
a
Positively.
crazy movie.
Yeah, I
Dude,
loved
those
it.
parts where like her and like Mila Kunis are like getting freaky and she starts getting that chicken skin stuff going on.
Yeah.
Little feathers coming
yeah.
out. That did not get good to me. I did not like that.
I think the thing that creeped me out the most about that movie was when her mother's paintings of her kind of like moved just
Oh,
slightly.
yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wait, did I just see that?
That,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, why is her mother like? She's not a good artist. Like, why does she keep trying? Like, you don't have it. It's not good.
Well, because we've seen what happens when you shut down mediocre artists. Hitler.
Ooh,
That's
damn,
what happens.
You're right. That's true.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So
Also, Charles Manson was
that
a musical
too.
artist.
That
so-
as well. Yeah. Marilyn Manson, they let him keep making art. Didn't get better. Didn't get better. It's a
you're
lose-lose
saying
situation,
it's a
people. It's a
catch-22.
lose-lose. It's up to the artist to look at their work and say, this is not for me, really.
But I also don't need to run the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a bit of acceptance right there. Now, I'm surprised that we liked this movie as much as we did because the reception was fucking awful. This is one of the most
It was.
panned movies
It was.
of all time. And before we get into that reception, gosh, I just need to get me a pull.
Get your pull.
You guys need a pull?
I would take a pull.
I think I'm going to take a pull of this Imperial Peanut Butter Milk Stout. That's from a Tailgate Brewing, right?
Tailgate.
Are they out of Nashville? Nashville, Tennessee. That's correct. Some local
two in a
boys.
row.
Our most popular beer and more of it. More body, more savory, more peanut buttery. ABV 9.4.
All right. Yes.
Have you ever had this, Steve?
I have not.
Oh, dude, buckle up,
Have you?
buckaroo.
You guys have both had it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I've had that.
Oh, okay.
I thought we had this whenever we went to the
That's
place
the one
with
at
Jim,
Will.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was amazing then.
Yeah.
It's 9.4.
That was also after vodka shots.
Oh,
like,
my
why
God.
are we doing vodka shots at 3 p.m.?
That was the day.
30s. Stop
Sounds
it.
like you're rocking out, man.
I had a babysitter and like Jenny Jim George. And it's like, jeez.
Yeah, we have this out of town friend, and every time she's in, we just get fucking ripped.
When
know?
Emily and I first moved to LA, we lived with these guys who had just graduated from UCSB, which is a party school, and it got to a point where it was just like I did find myself like, wait a second, it's 4:00 in the afternoon, we're all drunk.
Yeah, what's going
What
on
the
here?
fuck?
It's so funny every time that you like you'll start saying our friends Lindsay and Thomas, and you'll talk about a movie that you watched
Yeah.
over our house, and you talk about like how messed up you are, and I'm like, oh, we've really like drank way too much. Like every time he has a story, it's about how wasted he is.
Well, the thing is like I'm really bad about being smashed and people not knowing I am.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Apparently, that's something that I do.
Because you've told me at the end of episodes, like, I'm so drunk. And
Yeah,
I'm
like
really?
I can't see my
couldn't
fucking
tell.
notes right now. I'll tell you what, kids, that beer works as advertised.
It sure
is
do.
Peanut buttery, milky, and stout.
It does. It's very stout.
They don't fuck around.
Yeah.
And it's so nicely peanutty.
Yeah, I really enjoy the peanut smellish coming off of it, but it really just
What's
tastes
that smell like?
tastes
I was wondering,
stouty.
what's that
What's that
smell
smell
like?
like? But you know, I've had other like peanut
real
butter
good.
milk stouts that just tasted like really like artificially flavored, and that tastes natural. It
Yeah,
tastes
oh, yeah.
natural. I also can't believe it's fucking nearly 10% alcohol.
I can't believe it's not butter. Because I thought butter was a dark black liquid.
It's a little toasty too.
It is.
It's got a
Yeah.
good toast to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love that stuff, man.
I think probably the wrong season to drink it.
That's a good fall and winter
it's-
rig.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely so.
Yeah, definitely like in the summer, you don't want these thick ales
I
just
want one of these while I'm mowing the yard.
slowing your blood. Oh, yeah.
Just on that,
I can't
on that
imagine.
snapper riding lawnmower.
That's like the Anchorman milk was a bad choice. Like you
Yeah.
just start slamming it and you're like,
not good.
Maybe you could drink it like an iced coffee though.
oh yeah,
That-
Poured
you know
over
what?
some
that
ice.
would be.
It's a good
Yes.
point. It's strong. It
Drink it
probably
out of
would
a
be good.
straw?
Probably would be
Not
good.
okay.
I'll tell you what.
Creamer in there.
We've received this beer much better than audiences across America received this movie. How's that for a transition? How about that, right?
Right.
That's a pro
They
fucking
did
maneuver
not
right there.
like it.
I'll tell you what, guys. People sure do fucking hate this movie.
They do.
I can understand why. It's very strange. Like I said, it has a lot of graphic stuff in there. But golly, man, I mean, people straight up hate this movie and say it's one of the worst flicks that they've ever seen.
And this is when it was still in theaters.
Yeah.
Which is to me is crazy because going to the movies is a wonderful experience, but it costs so much money.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
would think that you would have just a little bit of an idea of what you're
what you're
getting
gonna
into.
go see, right?
Well, and I'll say that as far as like people's expectations versus what they got, this movie was advertised extremely badly.
It was. They tried to hide too much of what it was about.
Yeah,
I feel.
and hide how artsy it is and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
just let people know.
I don't trust trailers.
I don't
Anymore.
either. They're all
No.
the same. First off, like every trailer looks like the same movie.
Yeah.
And then like they're nothing like the movie. You go watch the movie and you're like, this movie's not about a wacky sidekick having funny one-liners.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
about World War II.
or it's, you know, you go see the movie and it's exactly like the trailer, like fucking the new Pet
And it's like,
Cemetery
well, why
was.
the hell did I come watch this fucking movie?
Yeah,
I
like the
saw
new
the
Pet
trailer.
Cemetery showed us fucking the whole movie.
Yeah.
Showed us everything.
I honestly don't even think this is a horror movie.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to categorize as just a straight horror.
Yeah.
Actually, it is a horror movie for introverts.
Yeah,
Like
no,
I
that,
felt such
yes.
great anxiety
Yeah.
about that.
And there's disturbing ass stuff that happens in here.
Pretty horrific at times, but yeah, it doesn't fit the genre tropes very much.
How the trailer made it seem like it was going to be
Yeah.
kind of like the houses.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it did
like,
seem much more like a
haunted
horror
or
movie.
Something
And
weird
then
was going on.
It's much more of just like almost like a biblical tale.
It's a thinker.
It
Some
is a
people
thinker.
don't want
Yeah.
thinkers. They want to just
They want
be
stinkers.
fed.
Oh.
They want things just fed to them. And
Yeah.
that probably sounds pretentious of
No.
me, but come on. It's,
It's
Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, if you're going to
You
watch
know.
an Aronofsky movie, you know what you're getting into, right? I mean, you
I
should.
think, yeah. And when I say that people hated it, I mean it was like nominated for Razzies and shit. Which
Razzie.
I can't.
The most egregious Razzie.
Oh
of
yeah,
all time.
yeah, because it's just the one for worst actress.
Yep.
Which
I don't
blows
get
my
it.
fucking mind.
She broke her rib,
Yeah.
like acting her ass off in this movie.
Yeah.
Whenever
I don't understand.
They had to create like her own little tent.
Yeah,
so she
really?
could feel better because she was
Wow.
like in it so much.
Like she had like a happy spot she'd go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. And I don't understand. Like, I understand if people don't like the movie. I really do. This is not...
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
It's not a movie for everybody by any means. But I don't understand how you could walk away from this movie and be like, you know what? She did a shit job acting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what a piece of shit you have to be to think that.
I don't even know who you would pick out here as the worst actor. I think everybody does a good job, but she is by far the best.
Yeah.
To decide to think she's worst actress even in this movie is ridiculous.
Honestly, there were parts where I didn't think that Javier Bardem was particularly
Really?
awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
There was times where I was just like, English is not his first language.
That is true.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember them saying for like No Country for Old Men, like he was apparently like phonetically reading most of his lines. Like he didn't really know what they meant.
Oh, well that sort of explains the strange way he talked.
Called it.
Which is
Called
actually
the coin.
perfect.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Is like for that movie, it really worked because he just seemed like super alien and disconnected and sociopathic and strange.
Yeah.
But there were moments in this where I was like, yeah, he don't speak English real good.
But Donald Gleason, who has a very strong accent.
Oh, wait. Donald.
Donald.
Right?
Donald Gleason.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce DOMNHALL.
His accent, his
great.
American accent was great. And did
It's
you know
great,
the
yeah.
guy that plays his brother is
He's his
actually
brother,
his brother?
yeah.
Actually, his brother.
Yeah.
The Gleasons, man.
Aren't they the son of fucking
Yeah.
Brendan Gleeson or something?
Yeah, who we
Yeah.
mentioned in the Nightmare on Elm Street episode.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah,
an
Brendan
acting
Gleeson.
family. What's the other family that's a big acting family? The guy that was in
No.
in It,
And it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The fucking...
and the guy from True Blood.
yeah.
Emily's gonna kill me
Scandinavian.
because she has such a crush on
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
Yes.
All them Skarsgårds.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, man. They'll act up a storm, that fam. You know? But yeah, this movie, it's kind of hard to categorize. I understand people not liking it, but I don't really think it deserved all the hate that it got. It
No.
got to the point where it's one of the rare, like, there's only like 19 movies ever that have received a perfect F score on Cinema Score.
Jeez.
Now,
An F.
I've talked about
That's
Cinema Score
insane.
in the past. Cinema Score is basically people are walking around in Orange County with their family and they say, "Do you want to see a movie?"
And that's
That
it.
is not what this movie is for. This movie didn't even need a Cinema Score. Why would they do that?
Wow.
All the negative stuff that came out about it after I went and saw it, I was like, am I wrong?
No.
It had
Yeah.
me doubting like my taste.
Same. Yeah. It's like I didn't know that people hate it until after I watched it for this podcast, and I was doing research, checking out other people's reviews, and I was like, whoa, am I dumb? It seems like everybody hates this movie.
When I was reading the critical responses that were negative, I was thinking, like, some of the things they were saying, I was like, yeah, I can see that. But then it's like, I don't understand, like, how that makes you so much, like, hate this movie so much. It's just a small thing. Like, you feel like it's pretentious. Okay, maybe it is a little pretentious. The pretension is the idea that people are coming into the fucking theater to see something and get some idea about the world.
Right.
That's not pretentious.
No.
That's just artistic.
And to give you an idea of other movies that have received a perfect F Cinema Score thing, we've got Alone in the Dark, which isn't that based on like the Sega CD game? Alone in the Dark?
It's Uwe Boll, I believe, and
I don't think I've heard of that one.
Uwe Boll is one of the worst directors of all time, but he was using an exploit in the German tax system, where basically if you made a movie in Germany, you got all these tax breaks.
Oh, really?
And if it failed, you made more money.
No
Basically
shit.
a producer's scam, like from the producers.
Respect. He's on that hustle. The Box. I don't know that one. Bug.
Oh, the box that was
Cameron Diaz.
yeah, and James Marsden. Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Watched that when I was trying to quit smoking.
Yeah.
Is it
Hated it.
horrific? Is it terrible?
Hated it.
Yeah, Emily and I watched it in the theater, and it was just like, what is this? I don't understand what was happening there at the end.
Bug is on here, which I recall that being like a disgusting horror movie.
yeah.
Oh, that's the
where-
one with Michael Shannon?
Yeah. I think they were saying like
Michael Shannon's in
Yeah.
that?
yeah, people were like barfing in the
Michael
theaters.
Shannon
Probably all
and
hype, though.
what's her name? The Judd. Ashley Judd.
Yeah.
The Judge, she's called.
The Judd. Here come the Judd.
Dr. T and the Women with Richard Gere.
Dr. T and the Women was bad.
I never saw
That was
it.
a bad movie.
I assumed it was. Eye of the Beholder. What you got?
Putting Mother in a category with
any
these
of these movies, yeah.
is
Come on.
mind-blowing
Yeah.
to me.
Fear.com. I Know Who Killed Me.
Oh, God. That one with Lindsay Lohan? That
Yeah.
was so fucking bad.
I heard that it was. I never saw it. Solaris, The Wicker Man. I assume they mean the
Nicolas
Nick
Cage, yeah.
Not the bees. And Wolf Creek, which is also a acclaimed horror movie.
Me.
Apparently they got an
I
F.
remember liking that one.
I never
again,
saw it.
But
like-
most of those, yeah, like I agree with. But
Yeah.
I don't get it. I
No,
don't get
why
it.
would this end up on that
like
list?
Bug, I don't get, because Bug it's a body horror movie. It's gonna gross people out.
Yeah.
Like, why are you showing these in CinemaScore? Why are you grabbing people off the street? Like, hey, let's all go watch a movie and see what we think about it. Like,
Yeah.
they think they're getting a prize and you show them this. Like, it's not a fucking prize.
It's like, hey, you want to make
challenge?
You want your day to get a lot worse?
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, fuck CinemaScore.
Yeah, it's not really very relevant anyway, I suppose. Now, this movie is centered around a fairly small main cast. There's like 8 million extras later
Yeah.
on in the movie, but the main cast here, we got old J Law.
She's the best.
As-
Love her to
as-
death.
As her. Or
Yeah.
is she called Mother? No, she's called her, right?
She's called Mother.
Mazel.
Yeah.
We got Javier Bardem as him.
Him.
Capital
Capitalized.
H. Capital H him. We've got old, what's his name as the guy that shows up?
Ed
fella.
Harris?
Ed Harris, he's known as, is his human name.
Man.
He's got old Michelle Pfeiffer,
Woman.
woman.
Is this the first thing that she's been in for a while?
I haven't seen her in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, because she did this, and then she did Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then
yeah, she was in
Avengers
that,
of
yeah.
Endgame. So yeah, these are I guess she's having like a comeback.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, 'cause
Let me
she's
some Michelle
fucking-
Pfeiffer.
She's fucking awesome,
Great.
man. She's one of those people that is kind of in that same category as Brad Pitt, where it's like they're so gorgeous that people forget they're great actors.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Because she always has been.
Yeah,
Even
she's always
Scarface
been
was
awesome.
like early in her
Oh
career.
man, she's
great
amazing
in,
in
it.
that, dude. Completely amazing. And as Catwoman, 10
Oh.
out of 10. 10 out of 10.
No, that's Selena Kyle.
And we got-
she was perfect for it.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
she did it
absolutely
so perfectly.
We got those Gleasons in there as the brothers.
Yeah.
And then later on, Kristen Wiig shows up
Kristen
So
Wiig
random.
does show up.
just to kill a bunch of people.
She was top billed and was in it, I think, for a running time of 5 minutes.
5 minutes
no
total.
shit.
Yeah, and it's just like not even a consistent. Like you just see her and then she's gone, then she's back, then she's
Yeah.
gone. Like it also has Stephen McHattie,
Who dat?
he plays the zealot guy. You might recognize his face if you were just looking at a picture of him, but he's the star of Pontypool, which is a really interesting horror
I liked
movie.
it until the very end.
I enjoyed it the whole way through and still don't know what it was about.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
Oh, you should
Pontypool's
check that out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a one I'd like.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the cast though, yeah, pretty small.
But a bunch of badasses.
Bunch of badasses, a bunch of great actors, and then of course all these extras show up and they all have titles and things. And this episode, like, if we wanted to, could be 4 or 5 hours because
Yeah.
there's just symbols all over the place and it's ridiculous.
A lot to dissect.
But I think it doesn't matter that much,
Right,
honestly,
yeah.
when it comes to the whole movie. Like, those individual things might be interesting. Like, there's a guy named the Coppersmith. Don't know why. Never smiths any copper.
Not that I seen.
Yeah, I definitely think this is one that you could
Yeah.
just dig and dig and dig, and then
Yeah.
start just trying to come up with even more things that could work for it.
Yeah. And
But
you-
I remember just reading like one sentence after I read it, or after I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the pretty simple sentence is this is about the creation myth. It's Adam and Eve. It's
Yeah.
Cain and Abel. And
You
then
could even
the
say
world.
it goes the whole gamut, even into Revelation and
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Armageddon
goes
at
all the
end,
way
too.
into baptism by fire, just
Yeah.
destruction of the earth. Yeah.
Which I'll tell you this, and I'll talk about what I saw out of the movie later, but, you know, I watched the movie, I really enjoyed it, and then just started reading up on it and stuff afterwards. And yeah, one of the first things that I read was excerpts from interviews with Aronofsky where he was like, yeah, it's about the Bible. This represents this person is this person is this person.
yeah.
It honestly lowered the cool factor of the movie for me. Not
Well-
necessarily because I didn't think the subject matter was cool, but because I just don't think it's cool for a director to make this super allegorical movie and then explain the whole fucking thing to you.
Yeah.
So the original title was Day 6 or Day 7.
Yeah,
and
which
that
is
would have been
way on the nose.
enough.
2 on
no,
the nose.
well, no. I think that
Really?
would. You wouldn't have liked that?
Day 7, which is the day he rested, right? Like.
Yeah. So day 6, when day 6 is what it was supposed to be called.
Okay. So the last day of the creation.
But like maybe the director doesn't come out and say all this stuff and explain it to you, but just call it day 6.
Yeah, and let you figure out, like in the Bible.
I would equally work with as mother. Like, because they're both, like, enigmatic. You kind of have to figure out what they are. Even with day 6.
That's
like, even if
true.
you know the Adam and Eve part, it's still just like, well, how does that relate to the creation of the earth? But
Right, yeah.
it does. It's all here, yeah.
But, to me, it's like the reason why we're still having these endless discussions about what the fuck is The Shining about?
Right.
It's because Stanley Kubrick didn't tell us what the fuck The Shining is about.
Well,
whenever the director or the artist tells you exactly what it is and what it means, all discussion ends. And to me, that's lame.
You don't want the artist telling you how to interpret their art. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. To me, anyway, some people would probably do better with that, I guess. But to me, it's like I like it when things are open. Like, I love the discussions that we have about, what is The Shining about? What is The Witch about? And we can have those discussions because nobody has spoon-fed us that information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So basically, as far as some of the biblical allegories and stuff go here, we got Jennifer Lawrence, which represents Mother, which in his words represents Gaia, like Mother Earth.
So Mother is in no way, I think, supposed to be fully a representation of Mother Earth.
Okay.
Because Mother Earth is in no way connected to the Kabbalah Jewish mysticism of the movie.
Oh.
Mother Earth actually isn't even a ubiquitous belief in all religions. The idea that the Earth is a mother. Mm-hmm. She represents that somewhat, but in other ways, she represents this very difficult to explain Kabbalah principle of Shekinah.
Shakira. It's about hips not lying and a she-wolf being in a closet.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
We all nailed it. We all nailed Shakira.
Yeah, the 3 Shakiras. We should start like a singing group called the 3 Shakiras, where it's like a
3 Shakiras.
Yeah, like a singing telegram service.
Yeah, the 3 Shakiras.
We show up and we're like, hello.
Okay, so
tell me about Shakira.
Shakira here. Shekinah might actually be sort of a full explanation of the movie in some ways, but the fact is that Shekinah is Jewish mysticism, and so it's just like any sort of ponderous idea. You can never completely comprehend it, so you're always trying to work your way around explaining it. It's like the Tao.
It's like Pink Floyd.
It's like Pink Floyd, yeah.
Got it. Exactly. Now I'm on board.
So it's a Hebrew word that means dwelling or settling. And it really means, it's really like a representation of the way that the Spirit of God can dwell or settle in you.
Okay.
So it's got a lot of poetic meaning, though, that is going to be interesting, I think. I just want to see how you guys react to some of these poetic meanings. So the Semitic root of it is often used to refer to the act of nesting or a bird's nest.
Okay.
Nesting is a real thing.
Yes, and it's occurring in this movie.
You get that instinct going on?
I
guess so, yeah.
For some reason, wanted like flowers all the time around, like in vases, to make the
That's
nicer. It's weird.
Like, she's fixing the house because it's his home, but she's fixing the house because she wants to put a baby in it.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
She's nesting.
I hadn't thought about that.
So Shekinah also represents the feminine attributes of the presence of God. So it's really easy to say that Javier Bardem is a representation of God in this.
Yeah, that's what I read out of it.
If I'm right on this, she's also a representation of God. So they're a duality. He's the side of God that's able to be revered and like wants people's adulation and stuff. And she's the side of God that gets beaten up and taken advantage of.
He's the face and she's the jobber.
Right.
Exactly right. Put this in Raslin terms.
So the Shekinah is also a holy fire that resides within the home of a married couple.
What?
This is a lot of things for one thing to represent.
Yeah, but all of these things are in this movie. A holy fire that is in the home of a married couple. That's how this movie ends.
It's
and
true.
begins.
And begins.
And begins,
It begins and ends the same.
Okay, so this is interesting. In 1967, anthropologist Raphael Patai argued in The Hebrew Goddess that the term Shekinah refers to a goddess, like a specific individual goddess.
That ain't in the Bible.
That would be like a holy mother.
Yeah.
A companion to a male god.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting as a former Mormon, because Mormons believe that. To find out that actually...
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
A lot of Mormons... If any Mormons listening right now, they're like, that's too sacred. No, it's not. Fucking get off your fucking shit. It's not sacred at all.
Like, we're not supposed to know about it?
Yeah, apparently. I don't know.
Well, that's so different than how I was raised, which was to spread the word.
Yeah,
you're supposed to... Oh, no, Mormons are supposed to spread the
that's
word,
true.
except about all the stuff that would weird people out.
Yeah. No magic
Which is all
underwear.
the stuff that was interesting to me. The moment that I heard that God has a wife and she's part of the decision making, I was like, that makes sense. I'm interested in you people
No
now.
doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, if I honestly, I would have never become Mormon if it had just been the missionaries telling me the stuff about the church. Because
Yeah.
it was my friend on the side being like, no, dude, but also you can become a god. And I was like, this is fucking where it's at.
Metal.
Anyway, though, so like in this idea then, and this was what opened it up to me, is that she's not a separate entity from him. She is him. They are one another.
Interesting. Okay.
But that takes away all the responsibility of all the pain and suffering she endures.
Yeah.
It means that he's somehow not responsible because he's also enduring it. So I don't like that too much.
Yeah.
There's another relevant connection to the Shekinah. And if anybody's listening right now who speaks Yiddish or whatever, I know I'm not saying that right. Lois Roden, who was the pre-David Koresh teacher and prophet of the Branch Davidian.
Oh, shit.
She published a magazine called Shekinah, and the first three letters, S-H-E, were capitalized. In which she put a heavy emphasis on women's spirituality and the feminine aspect of God. And guess what happened? This guy came along and seduced her and fucked her, and then she died, and he changed his name to David Koresh and got rid of all that stuff
and get this the hell out of here.
Started marrying 12-year-olds. So anyway,
Ooh, did not end well. Spoilers.
but this movie has moments that are like the ATF storming the Branch Davidian compound.
Yeah, absolutely so.
So like all of these things, when I was seeing these, I was like, well,
word.
obviously he's working with these ideas, but none of us know this. Like none of us are into Kabbalah. Most people aren't into Kabbalah.
Yeah.
So like, who's that message for?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is if he's lacing this with all that imagery, and like 1% of 1% of the population is going to be like, oh yeah, it's like Shekinah, sick.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile 99.9% of other people are like writing negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I get it a little bit.
I like a person
you're
who
saying definitely makes sense, but also I heard they wrote it in like 5 days.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine
That's exactly.
He's a very smart guy.
He
has to be, but
like deeply into Jewish mysticism though, because like even Pi was about Jewish mysticism. Yeah. Like there was elements of it in other movies, but maybe it was just stuff that he'd already had on his head. But he has also said that like, you know, he didn't plan it all out, and like you can kind of see whatever you want in it. Yeah. So a lot of it is just stuff coming out of him. This is probably stuff that's been deep inside of him for a long time.
That's a good point.
Yeah, could be. That's interesting stuff. I did not know about any of that.
I didn't either.
I think all I knew of Kabbalah. Didn't Madonna do that for a second and wear a red string around her wrist?
She wore a red string.
And I think Ashton Kutcher did too.
Yeah, wearing a red string was popular for a while.
That's about all that I know up to now.
Mm-hmm. And then they discovered juicing, and they were like, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. And then the biblical allegories keep going. Apparently, Javier Bardem as him is supposed to represent God, the All-Father Creator.
Kinda. I think, yeah.
He ain't
like
much like
Odin. He
Odin.
doesn't seem to be in control.
No.
He seems to just be a part of.
I think that's part of, well, at least what I was raised to believe is that humans have free will. So God created humans and just set them off on Earth, and they just keep fucking it
doing
up.
their thing.
They do.
Well, and also too, I mean, the way that you're saying he wasn't necessarily in control of things, I think kind of makes sense to an extent too, because I mean, with the whole Old Testament belief that God is a jealous God, you think of that as it meaning like, I don't like anybody before me. That would also mean he really likes getting attention from everybody, which is what
God's thirsty.
Yeah, God thirsty. God thirsty. So basically, as he's getting all this attention in this movie as the creator, he's just soaking it up and loving it, because ultimately, if he's a jealous God, that would be his reaction.
Yeah.
You know, so he's neglecting things that are going on in the house and the home and all that stuff, everything going to shit, because he just likes the attention.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense when you think about it from that jealous God, Old Testament kind of way.
It does. Yeah.
You know? And his works, apparently, are supposed to represent, like, his first works that made him all famous is the Old Testament or the Ten Commandments, right?
Yeah, Ten Commandments. Like, when he shows Ed Harris's office and takes him, and he's showing him his first book, and Ed Harris is like, I like this book or whatever. In that moment, it is sort of a representation of like Moses on the Mount being given the Ten Commandments. It's also a representation of the Holy of Holies, where the Ten Commandments was held in the Ark of the Covenant. Like, but it's also a representation just of God walking with Adam in the Garden of Eden before he created.
Well, that's before Eve shows up. Yeah. Because the next day is when Eve shows up. Yeah. Right?
Well, there's a little rib excision that occurs.
That was definitely the part when I first watched it where I was like, something's going on in this that I'm not picking up on.
Why has he got a big gash on the side of him now?
Yeah. He also likes to party. Adam was a party animal.
Apparently.
He liked drinking and smoking.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puking in the commode.
Oh, what's in the commode?
Okay,
that's a good question.
That is something I wanted to fucking talk about.
There's some sort of damn shitworm in there.
It looked like a fucking crab, or maybe like a miscarriage or something.
Maybe it was a miscarriage.
Maybe it was a miscarried crab. Crab people, crab people.
Do crabs have miscarriage?
I don't know. Do crab people?
Oh, yeah, crab people do.
But what the fuck was that? Like, she looks in the turlet, and there's, like, something, and then it's gone.
It scoots away, right?
Yeah, it's like sprays ink and...
Yeah, there's some kind of, like,
it has something to do maybe with the house? Or does it have something to do with him throwing up?
We know the house has a heart. Maybe it has other organs. Maybe that was prolapse.
Maybe the house has got a prolapse. I don't know.
Hey, that can happen during childbirth.
Yes, it can.
Oh, Jesus.
It can all pop out, yeah.
Everything comes out.
Just push it back up in there.
Don't people sometimes have their fucking viscera, their like guts come out and stuff with it every now and then?
I don't think that's possible.
So. No.
All right.
No, I think that's
those aren't connected.
Good. Exactly. Good. I was bringing that up to say good. I'm glad I can't.
Wait, in homeschool did they teach?
Yeah.
Your mom was like, it's all just in there.
Whatever. It's all mixed around. I don't know.
Maybe during C-sections.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of my unanswered questions that I don't get that.
I'm still not sure about that one. So God, Javier Bardem, him, I wanted to talk about the fact that they call him him and give the capital H so we know it's like God or whatever.
Yeah, godlike, yeah.
But it's him. His name's not he. His name is him.
It's true.
Him is the subjective case.
That feller.
Meaning he is an object.
Oh.
We are objectifying God in his name.
Mm-hmm.
Like his name is him, not he.
So that's very deliberate, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, obviously it's deliberate. Like, there's no reason why they would name him for no reason. But
unless they are really big fans of the band.
Him. Oh God, that was it. Fuck. That all makes sense.
Exactly right, dude. Exactly.
Big Finnish band fans. What the fuck? They were Finnish, right?
I think.
I think they were.
Because they were real. Bam, the producer of this movie? What's going on right now?
This movie was all about how that band just created a whole world of music and was misunderstood, you know?
Well, so that this is what is it? Reverential capitalization. They do that with God and the scriptures and stuff.
Yeah.
Any reference to him, like if they're calling him the healer or whatever, the H is capitalized.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that, but then mother is intentionally not capitalized, but is given an exclamation point.
What's the deal with that? He said that I read in an interview again that the title was, it had the exclamation at the end of it to represent the chaos at the end of the movie.
I read that too, and I was like, that's not my favorite answer.
That was a bad answer. I thought I read it too.
Yeah, like, really? Is it?
To me,
you don't need that.
No. I think there are a lot of different ways to interpret it, and that's always good.
Yeah.
For any artistic endeavor, is you leave interpretation open. But to me, it's the end of a sentence. Like,
It's true.
and that makes it like a Finnegan's Wake type of thing. Finnegan's Wake is James Joyce's last novel, where it's cyclical. Like, you can read it from beginning to end and start from the end at the beginning again, and it finishes a sentence.
Okay.
So it's almost like it's cyclical. She starts by saying baby ? And it ends with mother !
That's pretty sick. I
I
The
don't know how
baby
much
question mark and the mother exclamation part. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, but like,
I
again,
would have had so much respect for him if he would have been like, I just wanted to make it easier for you to search it online.
Yeah.
Mother's such like a...
Well, the Danzig song kept coming up the whole time.
yeah, he was like, fuck.
But the biblical analogies don't end there. Apparently,
They don't.
There's a whole lot more stuff where, I don't know, I thought this is kind of corny. Like the whole like sink getting ripped off the wall represents the great flood.
Yeah.
Listen, okay. You would think that the most disturbing part for me in that movie would be the baby eating.
Yeah.
But the most, like, I was gutted when those people were bouncing on the sink. She
Yeah.
asked them
Yeah.
so
She was
nice
so nice.
I
to
was
get off the
so-
sink.
Yes.
And
They
That's-
just wouldn't fucking
I
listen.
couldn't deal with how much everyone was disrespecting her. Like, I was just like fucking angry the whole movie.
that's why I feel like it does have something to
Yeah.
do with Mother Earth and
Oh,
like
yeah.
what we do
Oh,
to
it
our
definitely
planet.
does,
Like
yeah.
Yeah.
how shitty we treat
Right.
our planet.
The metaphor mixes for me, where it's like he's obviously going for all this biblical stuff, but he's also obviously going for Mother Earth. Like,
Because, well,
Yeah.
in real life, no matter what you believe, they all
Yeah.
need to, like, it has to intersect with
right.
planet Earth.
Yeah, because
We're
it
gonna-
is the matrix of humanity.
That's where all my stuff is.
Yeah.
It is humanity's womb.
All my stuff's here.
And that's actually something I wanted to talk about the house. It has this sort of womb-like quality to it, but it also is like a temple, in the actual Judaic, like Hebrew temple sense, in that it has all of the elements of a temple, including a Holy of Holies. As I was mentioning, the office is like, in some sense, the Holy of Holies, because this house also represents Earth in its entirety, and the
Yeah.
office also represents the Garden of Eden and stuff. So
Right.
but it also represents the Holy of Holies, where the Ten Commandments were held and all these sacred artifacts were held. And that is where his most sacred artifact is, which is the heart of the previous mother.
Yeah. The crystal
had
you
been
see at the very first of the
crystallized,
movie.
yeah.
Right.
And it's when the Adam and Eve, which is Michelle Pfeiffer and Ed Harris, are told consistently, don't do that. And
Yeah.
then they do it, that they're kicked out of the garden.
Right.
And he closes it up and makes sure nobody can go back in. But the house is also, like, this is like the most surface level, but I also found it to be like the hardest to figure out. It's also a house, like, it's a house where people live.
Yeah.
Representatively, beyond that, it's like a real physical space people live in, and it doesn't feel real. Like, the
The
location.
geometry and stuff is odd. Yeah.
It's very strange.
Hexagon?
Yeah. Yeah, and like there's one point where like she looks to the right and she sees where that like hole is, and he goes upstairs, and then she goes to the left into the room where the hole is, and it was very obviously done, like not an accident.
Yeah. It's like it's spatially weird
Yeah.
on purpose, like The Shining or something.
Yeah, so the house itself is weird. Like, beyond just being a symbolic thing, it, like, as a physical space, is strange.
Yeah.
And I wanted to actually, like, see if we could figure out a surface level reading of this that has nothing to do with Kabbalah, nothing to do with, like, global warming and stuff. Like, is there a reading of this movie where it just makes sense on its own?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what I got out of it whenever I watched this movie the first time.
I'd love to hear this.
Dude, the first time that I watched it, I don't know. I saw some things that made me think it was kind of biblical. I mean, the Cain and Abel thing was pretty on the nose. But the entire time that I was watching this, and I was seeing Javier, who is this artist that is revered and loved by his fans.
Yeah.
And definitely very self-obsessed. Meanwhile, he's got his wife, who is keeping all the gears turning and ends up getting pulled into his world and the world of his fans and his worshipers and stuff like this. It got a little bit too real to me as a person who makes their living creating things, which just affirms that I think most artists do have some type of God complex.
Oh, for sure. Like
Self-obsessed, you have to be.
I think the reason that people get into art is so they keep on living after they die.
Yeah.
And that's just like, you think you're that cool?
To me, what this really felt like, okay, we've had movies like Almost Famous, which is the story of the fans. We've had plenty of other movies like, I don't know, The Dirt, that are the story of the artists.
Yeah.
But what I thought in the reading I got out of this movie, which apparently, according to the director, I was completely wrong about, but the reading that I got from this movie is it was kind of the whole story of fans, the artist, their art, told from the perspective of the muse.
Yeah.
The person who inspired all that artwork, and how fucked up and terrible that must be to be the muse. That is exactly what I read out of it.
That's even deeper than what I got out of it the first time, which is like, woe is me, women give, we give, and like, what is enough, you know?
Right.
I definitely, when I watched it with Kate, and she was talking about like what it's like to live, you know, kind of with someone that has fans, and she was talking kind of about that, and I was...
That's all that I could see out of it. That's all that I could kind of see out of it personally, is it's just this whole story of artist fans and the muse that inspires the entire thing, which is ultimately the thing that kind of gets kicked to the side.
Like, and how invisible that like partners can be sometimes when they're not in it.
Like, he really treats her terribly.
Everyone does.
Everyone treats her like absolute dog shit. It's terrible. I like the creativity angle too. Like, I was seeing that as well. The first time I watched it, when I saw the like biblical stuff, I kind of got disappointed, just like you, when he said
afterwards,
that's it. Kind of got disappointed because I was like, we've seen that so much. We've seen so many allegories. Like, just whatever.
Yeah, give me something new.
But then I started seeing, like, this was, you know, once the Cain and Abel thing happens, that's when shit really pops off and everybody starts being absolute terrible to her. Yeah. That's when I was like, oh, this movie is about how fucking terrible we are to women. And then in the end, it's like global warming. And I'm like, oh, it's about Earth. Gotcha.
Right.
But I like the creativity angle too. Yeah. And I actually, because I don't know, sometimes it really pays off to just look up a word you know the definition to.
Yeah.
And try to understand it. So creativity wasn't a thing before the Renaissance. Like,
really?
Yeah, there was no concept of creativity. The idea was that God was creative, and sometimes he gave you something, and like you then used it as an artist.
So it's not coming like from you.
Yeah, and so the intermediary is a muse. That's the person who God talks to, and then the muse talks to the artist. And we see that in this, where she talks directly to the house to figure out like how to paint it.
Yeah, I remember that one scene where she like puts a shade of brown or yellow up, and then like she's like, "Now I'm gonna dap some more of this dust in this here caulk," and like put up just a slightly darker shade. And
and it's like that's it. Like, she gets against the wall a few times where she's just sort of like listening to the house to know how to do what it wants. So in that sense, if that is the case, the house is God. And she's the muse, and he's just a creative who has a God complex.
Yeah.
People are drawn to the house, and he's the face of the house.
Yeah.
Though she's the one who did it all. What do you think? No?
I mean, that's something I haven't thought about. This is definitely the kind of conversation that does make me upset that he...
Spilled the beans.
Yeah. It really
I
does.
was kind of like just happy that he was like, yeah, it's about the Bible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, maybe we could have found more.
Yeah, let me have some fun with this thing, you know? You know, kind of the thing that I got about it and what I kept thinking of, which again, it's like, this just shows just what a fucking self-obsessed, dumb asshole I am. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, oh, this guy's like me. He makes stuff and he has fans. It's like, that is just what a fucking self-centered piece of shit I am, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm watching this and I'm seeing that. But then I'm also seeing, okay, ultimately though, this guy is creatively impotent. He's not written anything in forever until he gets the inspiration from her, right? And then as a result of that, he's got all these fans and stuff, these adoring fans that show up. And there's something that in the age of social media, I think so many people can relate to. There is something strangely addictive about receiving the love of strangers that somehow is so self-validating.
It is really nice
to hear from people that don't know you, they've never met you, they know nothing about you, but when you hear they like your stuff, it feels very redeeming, and I don't fucking know why. I have no clue why that works.
The beginning of the end for me with music was as soon as I knew how much I was going to have to be on social media
Oh God, yeah.
to do it, I was out.
Yeah, and I'm out.
You're not interested in that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely was when I was younger, but I don't know, social media, like, you have to let people into your actual personal life.
You do.
Now. Like, it's completely
You have
different.
to let them into your home like this. Yeah, you really, because that is, I mean, that actually, I'm glad you just said that, because that is what this sort of is social media. Like,
that's what I'm seeing out of it.
You allow social media into your home, you're allowing this entire world to
in
come
your
in
life.
and affect everything about your life.
Yeah. And when you're the person that's attached to the person that's receiving all that attention, you're like, I didn't fucking ask for this. I didn't ask to be a part of this world.
I think right now, by the way, I just say, chuck out the Bible shit. This is a good movie without it.
I know.
Yeah.
I really do think so. Like, I honestly wish I wouldn't have looked into the Bible stuff. I think I liked the movie better before I learned about
maybe
that.
Maybe that was it, though. Maybe. I mean, this is a stupid, like, J.J. Abrams level type of thing to do, where he was like, I'll tell them it's about the Bible, so they'll have to think more about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's stupid.
But you know what I got to thinking about? like I said, as far as that three-way game of fans, artists, the muse, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It got me even thinking about, like, let's say that you were what's her name, that was the inspiration for the song Layla.
Right.
Eric Clapton loved this woman. This woman loved George Harrison, right? I think that's the whole story with Layla.
Right, yeah. He stole George Harrison's girlfriend, or wanted to.
Yeah. And basically...
I want to see this girl.
Yeah, I know, right? And so basically the song Layla, which is like one of the biggest hit songs fucking ever. Everybody knows that song. That's the unplugged version.
Can me home, money, Layla. Begging, darling, please, Layla. Sorry.
But can you imagine...
That was great.
That's pretty damn good. But can you imagine what it is like? Okay, like, I'll put it this way. As fans, we know that song. It's this great anthemic tune that Eric Clapton played on. We know the whole story behind it. It involves one of our other heroes, George Harrison, or whoever the other guy is.
Right.
But if you're the woman, if you're Layla, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, this was a really real life experience for me. I was in love with this guy. I fell in love with this other guy. This is my life that this fucking song is about. And now you go and write this fucking tune about it. My entire life and my real life experience is now completely public knowledge. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I was just trying to live my life, and I ended up inspiring you to write your fucking song.
Yeah.
That has to be awful.
I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I also think Layla was probably a little bit of a
She's like,
backstage
sick.
Betty.
Little backstage Betty.
You better write a song about me.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
I get what you're saying.
You
to
know
put
what I
it in
mean?
a different context for people who don't know Eric Clapton, imagine if you were the stripper and Mike Jones's I'm in love with a stripper. And you're like,
Right.
man, I was just stripping and now everybody's telling my
I
business.
just clocked in for a day at the office.
I'm sure that like two people were like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
I'm in love with a stripper. Gotcha.
Right. But you know, it's like when I was watching this movie, I was able to connect on it in very, very real ways and really feel like a true asshole as I was watching it. Because
Yeah.
there's all this like horrible shit going on at the house. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you know, the mother is like, don't you see what's going on here? Like, these people are wrecking the house. This is going on. This is happening. He's like, yeah, just, you know, give my fans a little bit more time. And he's like so obsessed with talking to his fans and all that jazz. It's like, I've been there. I've done that. There have been like real life things going on between Kate and I in our house. And I'm like responding to fan comments on YouTube.
Right.
You know, it's like you get so obsessed with keeping up with the people that adore your work.
Yeah.
It's strange, man. It's like this is a real artist guilt movie to me, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's really because it stuck with me too. I kept thinking like I know I've done this to my wife, like just people want to talk to me about something, and like I would rather talk to her, but I also love when people like me.
Yeah.
Like, so this guy's just obsessed with people liking him.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants everyone to adore him.
Yeah. Well, and I know that there have been times that I have literally brought strangers into our home, the same as this happened. You know, where like I'll be like, oh man,
God.
this band I met on tour, they're in town, they need a place to stay. They're fine, they're cool, they're coming over. And Kate's like, what? What do you mean? Like, yeah, they're cool, they're fine, they'll stay on the couch. Let's feed them. And it's like, that's what happens in this movie.
As much touring as I've done, I would never let a band stay at my house.
I was gonna say I wouldn't. That sounds like a horror movie to me.
Even though we were a good band, but like there's some out there.
By the
Not
way,
so
we
much.
could easily just write that horror movie. A band stays with a family, the band kills the family, or whatever. Or the family kills the band. Yeah.
So Thomas, this is one of those know someone that knows someone that knows someone stories. But Thomas was on tour when I was not in the. Thomas is my husband. He was in a band and he was on this Christian rock tour.
Oh.
They were in a Christian band, but he was playing with a Christian band. And they had this crazy story where this teenager was like, hey, my parents out of town. Do you just want to crash at my house? And so the band went and stayed at their house. And he was like, yeah, make yourself at home. Just stay out of this bedroom.
Oh,
and,
no.
You know, stay out of the fridge.
Oh, no.
And so they stayed, and they thought the kid was pretty weird. And the next day, they were at, I guess, like McDonald's or something, and there was this crazy news story that came on about, like, this kid killed his parents.
What
and
the
they stayed in the
fucking
house.
shit? What?
I know.
That is insane.
Holy shit. I've had some weird tour stuff happen. Not like that.
Nope.
That tops them all.
I'm pretty sure that would stop me from playing music. I mean, yeah, that would have done it. Or at least not get hotels. Like, it's worth it.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm also pretty sure that this movie very well could be the story of Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love.
Oh, shit.
You know, you got Courtney Love. She's this blonde lady. She inspires all the work that the man gets all the adoration for.
She's known for her homemaking skills.
She puts out her own project, right? She puts her baby out there in the world. People tear it to shreds.
Oh, my God.
I'm pretty sure that's what this movie is about. Only twist, at the end, she doesn't kill him. Otherwise, it would have been too on the nose. Like, he would have been like, people will read it directly if she murders him at the end.
Cobain,
yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, this is the whole story. Got it. Yeah, it would have been a little bit too on the nose. Lindsey, as somebody who is a creative and has also been in a partnership with a creative, that's something that I imagine must be very strange. And can you see those parallels in this movie? And how do you feel about that kind of thing?
I could definitely see that in the movie. Like, you talking about how you get the artist side out of it, and I think that when I watched this, I was so far out of that and more like into, like, I was 5-6 months pregnant, so I was feeling
I'm trying to make a home here.
The side of a mother and everything that you give. Like, you give up. Oh God, it sounds like such a cliche, but you give up a lot. Like, you give up your freedom. You give up
sushi.
Your body. You give up trampolines. Like, it's
That's a
whole
shame, honestly.
huge list of things that you give to keep things going, like, just to bring life into this world. And then, honestly, just as I'm sure, like, there's just different women. Mm-hmm. Everyone's different, but I think for the majority, women are givers.
Absolutely.
I'd say that's true. In my life, that's been true.
Yeah.
And just every dang thing she put into that house, the meal that she made, and all those people came, and, like, they didn't even eat the meal. And that guy she was like, "This is my house," and he's like, "This is everyone's house. Your husband said so."
This movie just puts so much self-obsessed, annoying things about myself on the screen for me to see. It really made me feel like an asshole because I just related so much with everything that was going on. One of my favorite lines in the movie is that part where I think it's towards the end, and she's like, "I have nothing more to give," or whatever.
Yeah.
And he says, she says, "I wasn't enough." And he said, "Nothing is ever enough. I couldn't create if it was." Yeah. That line, "Nothing is ever enough. I couldn't create if it was," is so fucking good. Yeah. Like, that to me is just like, that is what it's like to create art in a nutshell.
Yeah. Most people that are artists are depressive and like, they're never going to be 100% happy.
Yeah, if you were full...
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, really. If you were full, you wouldn't be trying to fill it with anything. Yeah. You know? It's why we see so many of our favorite artists peter off after their life gets good. Yeah. Because they have enough. Mm-hmm. When they don't have enough, they got to fill it up with something. That's when they make their best work. Yeah. Usually, not all the time. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. So fucking awesome. So yeah, to me, like I said, I completely read this movie the wrong way. You know?
I did too.
I don't think that's the wrong way. I don't think so.
I like it better that way, honestly.
I was going to say, I don't think... I've said this before. I'll say it again. Who gives a shit what the artist thinks their art means?
It's how
it really
connects with
literally means zero when it comes down to it.
Right.
Just like... Because if you sit in front of a painting and you get so much out of it, and then the artist comes along and goes, that's about my mom. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All that shit I got out of it is invalidated by the fact that you think it's about your mom. Doesn't matter what you think it's about.
Right. That's a good point, because like I said, it's easy for me to watch this and be like, I'm disappointed. This is about the Bible. It's not what I thought it was. Yeah, it doesn't mean that my thoughts and ideas about this movie are invalidated at all.
No, I think yours are even better, honestly.
Thanks, I know.
Hey, I want to get a pull. It's warm in this room.
I'm feeling like I haven't had a pull in ages. How about we get ourselves a rip off of this thing? What'd you bring us here, Lindsay? This is a DDH Juicy IPA.
Untitled.
Supposed to be beer.
From
so
Untitled
hopefully
Art.
it's beer.
It might be. It says there's beer in this can.
Okay. I wanted some
7%.
DDH. I was like, damn, what's that?
I was hoping it was DDP, and as soon as I open this up, we're going to get Diamond Cuttered, then do some yoga by Diamond Dallas Page. That's what I was hoping. This is from Microphone Brewing, and I'm honestly not just saying that like an idiot like I do sometimes. It says microphone, which I like that a lot, from Wakani, Wisconsin. Really cool art and stuff on this too. I look forward to getting a try of this thing right here. Let's find out about it.
One of my favorite lines of the movie, which kind of wrapped up how I felt about it, was, "You never loved me. You just loved how much I loved you."
That's fucking brutal.
And
That's
brutal. And again, that's artists and their fans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even see that side of it. It's like one of my biggest fears is
oh God,
like unrequited love and
That's brutal.
No, that's frightening, and it's absolutely frightening because she lives with him and they're married. Like, to realize after all that time, just like, oh, you don't love me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just love how I make you feel.
That would fucking suck. That would suck so bad. Like, I don't think any of us are in that type of relationship, because this relationship is obviously fucked up from the beginning. Like he's always disregarding what she says. He never listens to her. He's gaslighting her. He's like pretending like these things aren't a big deal.
Right.
Like, it's a big fucking deal. Like, we all know this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that one part that I just remembered. So the day after they finally have sex and she's like pregnant, which by the way, like she like touched her boob, and I was like, that's how I knew I was pregnant. Seriously.
Really? Yeah.
Like, after like
Little
a
boob
couple
touch.
weeks, like my boobs just hurt.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, he's like, oh my God. I'm like, got this idea, and starts writing, and she's like, I guess I'll just let you do that. I'll go work on the apocalypse. Did you catch that line?
Yes, I didn't even think about that though.
Like, what is that?
I remember it sticking out as like, that's weird, but what? Yeah, well, I'll go work on.
Guess I'll just get started on the apocalypse. I think that's what she said.
Interesting.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. I'll tell you what I say. This beer is fucking delicious.
Oh yeah, this is juicy as hell. I'm digging it. Who's this by again?
Microphone.
See, this one tastes like pineapple.
Yeah, this is more pineapple.
We
had that one before the show that just tasted weird. I didn't like it.
This is about our 10th beer.
I'm not.
Yeah, we're on it.
I wasn't no fan of that. Yeah, one of the things too, if I can wrap up kind of the whole artist, muse, inspiration, thoughts and stuff too, is that at the end of this movie, after all this like horrible, awful shit has happened. I mean, so much bad stuff. But it results in Mr. Artist getting his prized little work, his little crystal that he puts on a pedestal.
Right.
And he's not even like sad or upset about everything that's happened.
He's actually happy about it, as we know from his reaction to the crystal before.
Yeah, he just looks at
loves that more than anything.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like, it just makes you wonder. It's like, you know, with these artists and stuff that create these works that are based out of some horrible tragedy that happened in their life, or some awful, you know, bad relationship or death or whatever, and then they just sit down and go, I made a pretty song. It's just so easy to become obsessed with your own work and just smell your own farts.
Yeah.
And forget about what happened for you to get there. I mean, a song like Butterfly by Weezer, which is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
There was some genuinely fucked up shit that happened to make that song.
For sure.
You know? God, it's wild, man.
Yeah.
Talk about Weezer a lot on here, don't you?
I might just talk about Weezer a lot in
He's always
general.
bringing up the wheeze.
Tell you what, that cover album they just put out is a pile of shit.
Is it?
Not gonna listen to that.
Oh, just don't. Just let Blue Album and Pinkerton just live on in your life.
I will. I even liked that green one.
Yeah, the Green album was
Green
good.
had some okay stuff on it. Yeah, it was fun at least.
Yep.
You know? Yeah, a little Island in the Sun action. Now, all of this story is told through some really unusual camera work. And I'm going to tell you guys, there was something that I read about this, and I thought about it afterwards, and I was going to see if you guys picked up on it. There's basically only 3 different camera angles in this movie. There are POV shots from her. There are over-the-shoulder shots of her.
Yeah.
And there are extreme close face shots of her. That is the entire movie. It's only those 3 angles.
And the way the camera just flows. Like everything flows. I don't think there are any hard cuts at any point, really.
No.
It just all flows. Which is what adds to this anxiety and fucking just anger that keeps building, and then as like you're dealing with Eve is a terrible like asshole to her.
Oh man, she is such a fucking bitch.
Then she witnesses a murder in her home, which is seriously one of the greatest like acting moments from her I've ever seen.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in this movie particularly, like she is freaked.
Yeah.
All this shit happens, but it's slow. It's a slow development. Then he releases his new poem or whatever, and it's just a fucking constant strain of shit that just the camera is just like all around the house, just constantly moving. Like,
Yeah.
so
And then
like hard to deal with, but also really cool.
like those last scenes when just the general like house riot and stuff going on really remind me of like the end of what's it, Children of Men?
Oh, that 20
Yeah.
minute like
Yeah.
all
That
one
supercut.
shot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that scene was just all one cut too.
It felt like it, for
they
sure.
had to keep redoing
Yeah,
it.
they had to keep. I would assume they were moving sets, just moving them on.
Surely they were,
Because
yeah.
she was just like, it was a constant, continuous sort of shot.
Yeah.
And that added to the anxiety. Like, a cut would have been like a respite. It would have been a moment to just be like,
oh my God, yeah.
But no,
it just keeps
constant,
going.
Like, fuck you.
It was
This is what's
exhausting. Dude,
Yeah.
like all the scenes in the movie where like people are showing up and then they leave after the flood, quote unquote. And then they come back later and they're just wrecking the house and tearing shit up and repainting shit and busting down walls, and
The pacing of the movie is really strange.
it's very
Because
strange.
it's got that just sort of slow build for the first half, and then it's
Yeah.
like Fast and the Furious for the second half.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure I saw Vin Diesel like Tokyo drifting.
Yeah, he was stealing a car back there.
He was back there stealing a car.
Carjacking.
And he was like, mi familia.
It is one of the most stressful movies I have ever watched. I was unbelievably just fucking stressed out watching this movie.
That's I was just dreading it, watching it this last time.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
I just knew like the gambit of emotions I was gonna feel.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is okay, this ties into like 2 central nightmare themes that I have as a constant through my life. One of them is I am all the time having dreams about home disasters.
Seriously.
I'm all the time waking up from these extremely
Like a
stressful
fire
dreams.
or-
Yeah, or like pipes busting
Oh.
and stuff like that. Shit just breaking, falling down, roofs caving in, trees
That's
falling on the
scary,
house.
yeah.
I'm constantly having nightmares about this stuff. So in this movie where she's got this beautiful house and she's constantly fixing up and working on it and stuff, and then these people are just literally tearing it apart, was like a scene from one of my nightmares.
Yeah.
But also too, and this is something that, again, avid listeners of the show will remember because I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've ever told you about this, Lindsay, but there was a dream that I had when I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old, and I had like a brain boiling fever. I was sick as shit. I had the flu or something like that. You remember like when you were a kid and you were sick and you'd have dreams and they would just be other dimensional weird, right? I had this dream and I seriously can't even remember what happened in it. I don't remember the specifics of exactly what happened in the dream, but I just remembered that there was some sort of like extremely huge, like ruinous event where everything was destroyed, everything was ruined, and it fucked me up. And my entire life, because like I said, it happened when I was like 4 or 5. My entire life, I will see certain things and they will trigger my mind and remind me of that dream. It's oddly specific. It's very strange.
So weird.
I think I maybe talked about it on the first Elm Street episode or something like that. And it's always specific things. Like sometimes whenever I drive by a place and they're doing like a bunch of road work and there's a bunch of like torn up pavement, like the roads like all crumbled and torn up and stuff, I'll have this weird freaked out, like it's almost like deja vu.
That's so... No, you've never told me about this.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Certain things do it. There was a tree that we used to walk by on like our walks with the dogs and stuff all the time. It was this tree that I think maybe it had either just rotted or got hit by lightning or something. It was this giant tree and they had to like halfway cut it down because it just fallen over. I'd look at that thing and get really freaked out. It's very bizarre. This movie had me tripping out
Constantly?
for that entire last 40 minutes of the movie.
Wow.
I mean, like I said, I'm used to experiencing these weird apocalyptic deja vu things like 5 seconds at a time. This is like 20 fucking minutes of just this ruinous nightmare deja vu. It was really hard on me to watch this movie. Fucking exhausting. Now, some of the stress in this movie, too, comes from what fucking shits all these people are, starting with Adam and Eve, specifically Eve, who is just a fucking bitch the whole time, man.
Yeah. She has some real immediate issues with Mother. Like,
She's not motherly.
Yeah, she's not
Right.
motherly at all.
Right.
Yeah, she obviously has a favorite child and dislikes the other child. Like, I didn't get exactly why Eve immediately had the, like, sort of disdain for her and really just started digging into her immediately.
Yeah. And I think that's also there, like, her being such a shit and her and Adam just acting like such little brats.
Yeah, they totally do.
I think it's just there to show, like, from the biblical perspective, like, what it must have been like to be God, to be like, hey, I made this perfect world for you. Oh, God damn it. You're just going to fucking disobey me and do everything I said not to do.
Yeah.
You little fucking shits.
Do you remember the part after they broke the thing in his office? They have sex.
Yeah.
Like, weird time, dude. Like, you're about to get kicked out
Yeah.
of someone's house and you're just going to go have
Go
sex.
fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jennifer Lawrence's mother sees them, and then Michelle Pfeiffer comes to the door a second later, and she's like kind of covering herself, but like on her bra or on her shirt there's a leaf.
Oh, no
Yeah.
shit. There
So this-
wasn't there? It was
yeah.
like green, wasn't it?
It's obviously like a representation
Yeah.
of being
I
kicked
forgot
out of the
about
garden,
that.
discovering
The
that
little
you're
thing.
naked,
Yeah.
etc.
Well,
yeah.
a lot of people have said that, like, the forbidden fruit
Was
in the
sex.
garden was sex anyway. So, yeah, they went in the study, then they
Yeah.
went and had a bang, and then they got kicked out that garden. What about Cain and Abel? What do you think about them two
Okay,
sons?
so that point, I mean,
Gleason's.
because that happens right after what you're talking about. After she sees her at the door, she turns around and starts walking into her own goddamn foyer, and there's a man there who's like, "Who are you?" What? No, that's no. Like, her patience is insane to me,
Astounding.
because I
Yeah.
would be like, "The fuck do you mean? Who am I? It's my house, the door. See it."
Yeah.
Like, what
'Cause
the
like
fuck? But yeah, like the boys show up, and it's interesting because they're named. And I like really don't know what to make of this entirely, but they're named.
He's the older son, younger son, or something
No,
like
no,
that?
no. It's
that?
not son, because it's actually they mix it. It's older son and younger brother.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes,
One's the son, one's the brother.
Cain, older son, is in relation to his father. Abel is in relation to his brother. Like
That seems
named
deliberate.
It is deliberate. Yeah, like I don't know what it means though, because I mean in the Bible, Cain, like in the Bible, it makes no fucking sense. Cain gives God some stuff. He's like, "Hey man, been farming for a while. Here's some fruits and vegetables." God's like, "Fuck you," and then Abel's like, "Hey dude, here's a sheep," and God's like, "My dude."
Well,
yeah.
see, what people didn't understand is God was on the paleo diet back then.
Oh, okay,
That
yeah.
makes so much sense.
Yeah,
Right.
he was
Eat
trying to
that
get in.
meat.
He was trying to get in ketosis so
Yeah.
he could ditch some
Obviously, yeah.
heavenly father bod.
Which is, they did it. I mean, Ed Harris has got one.
Yeah,
right?
he's got that dad bod.
He's got that dad bod.
Cain
But, I
brought
mean,
him potatoes and carbs. He's like, I can't eat these.
can't eat this shit.
Son of a bitch.
But like they do this, they do it well in the movie of sort of representing that. Like, I don't know what the issue was.
Yeah.
Like they never say. Like it's
Something about
like,
inheritance or
inheritance,
something,
but
yeah.
it's like, but why is he not getting his? Like, there's never any reasoning as to why one is getting more than the other, except.
Right.
that apparently
Favoritism.
Eve likes Abel more.
Right.
This entire sequence of events, him murdering his brother, then running away, and then him being like, yeah, we're just going to take him to the hospital. You stay here by yourself with a murderer on the loose.
Yeah.
Bye.
Please
the
don't leave me.
fuck?
This is a good place to address that she never leaves the house.
Never.
No.
Never walks
Never
out of it.
once. She's barefoot in that house all the time, too.
You know that was her idea.
Yeah.
To stay barefoot.
So
Yeah.
she would be like more connected to
Yeah.
the house. Or
You know,
something
That's a
like
good
that.
idea. But yeah, so like, but he, so when Cain kills Abel, though, it leaves this spot behind that actually like,
Yeah, that
stays
blood
there
spot,
and
yeah.
like grows and changes and.
She tries to cover it up with a rug and
Yeah.
all that jazz.
And so like I saw that as the mark of Cain. Like Cain was supposedly
Okay.
marked
Yeah,
from
yeah,
then
yeah.
on. But you were saying earlier that Thomas had an idea, and I liked it.
It was a stain on humanity. Or
Yeah.
Stayed.
The first murder.
The
It's
first murder.
It is the biggest stain on humanity. Is that first moment when we were like, I could just kill that guy.
And that's ultimately what opens her up to the basement,
Yes.
which has the oil down there. It's got a
Yeah.
whole bunch of oil.
where they keep a bunch of used motor oil to heat the house.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I bet that place smelled funky.
I bet it did.
Bunch of 10W30 in there just
I
heating
bet a
up.
lot of like motorheads would show up though, and they'd be like, "Hey, what you running over?"
You got a big block down that basement. I can smell it from here.
My basement runs on a 350. But yeah, like that. The blood though, like it like seeps through and opens up this deep passage, which you could refer to as hell, basically.
Yeah.
That opens up the possibility of hell. Like it was there. She had gone down to the basement before and saw that like it had been sort of like.
It looked like one of the doors in Zelda where there'd be a wall you
Yeah,
could
it
break
would
down.
be obvious you need to put a bomb there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like she sees it, but like, you know, it's not till the blood hits it that sort of dissolves it and opens up the way to hell, which is also where she then eventually ends up destroying the house when all of these insane people murder her child and beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Like she goes down to hell and uses the fire of hell to cleanse it. Like that's an
reckon.
interesting concept.
Like a Tool song.
That
It's
does
like a
sound
Tool
like a Tool
song. Exactly right. And, you know, speaking of a child getting murdered and
Speaking
all
of
that
it.
kind of stuff, let's talk about some of the more controversial elements of this movie because, you know, again, the big shiny declaration I knew about this movie is a baby gets killed. But
I
there's,
didn't know that.
There's
I was-
more fucked up stuff in this
I was
movie.
surprised a little bit. I mean, the moment she had a baby, I was like, well, that baby's not going to make
This
it.
can't end well. Also, too, like with that being a representation of, I assume, the Christ child, he didn't get killed unwillingly as a baby. He died willingly as an adult.
But in this case, his father still did give him up, which is kind of the story of Jesus. Like, it's not so much Jesus as a voluntary victim.
Jesus was supposed to be like free of sin,
Yeah.
as innocent
Yeah.
as a baby.
Right,
anyways.
so basically the same thing.
What'd you think about seeing that baby get all killed, Lindsay?
Was it fun?
God, that's fucked up.
Like I just felt it coming.
Yeah.
I kind of figured it's where it was going, so I.
Yeah, they're all like, they're basically, he's crowd surfing.
Yeah,
with all these crazy
he's doing
people.
it's like Bonnaroo there for
Yeah.
a second.
And
He's
then
like a
you
beach
hear-
ball at a Nickelback concert.
You hear that snap,
God.
and it's
Oh,
like,
snap.
oh.
It's really well done. They used a couple like actual young babies and then a very realistic looking
Yeah.
prosthetic whenever like I guess it's neck
You're
breaks.
going to say they used a couple of actual young babies and just broke their necks and then recorded that.
I had to do a couple takes.
I'll tell you, it was definitely different watching it in the theater before I had my baby, and then after
Oh,
I had
yeah.
my baby.
Yeah.
I bet
Like,
it
I bet.
becomes much more
Every
real.
sort of horror movie that has to do with children,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, well, I'm not gonna watch that.
Yep.
Like for the past 2 times of watching it, I don't watch the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean,
There's not much to gain from watching
no,
it, honestly.
I know it happens.
Yeah.
Like,
Can I risk sounding like a completely desensitized
Please.
maniac asshole?
Go for it.
I didn't think it was like all that bad.
I've seen so much worse.
Yeah.
Like, is that fucked up?
No, it's
you,
not.
You have a horror movie podcast. Like you've
Yeah,
seen some
we've-
shit.
We've
Yeah.
seen The Witch. Remember? A baby gets turned into a poultice.
That they do. They grind it up into
Yeah.
a paste. But it's like in this, it's like, okay, and don't get me wrong, God, I'm not at all trying to say like a fucking newborn child being killed and ripped apart and eaten isn't
Right.
fucked up. I'm just saying what they showed us in this movie, I didn't think it was that like traumatic or anything like that. I mean, yeah, the baby's neck breaks, and then you kind of see like a little rib cage, a little gore, or whatever.
Everything that happened before then, I mean, like nothing shocking. Like
yeah. Well, then honestly, like the thing that really shocked me more was the beat down that she gets afterwards.
Because she finally asserts herself.
I felt
finally
bad watching that.
Like she said, she's asserted herself with like get out, etc., and then like not wanting them to be in that room with them. But she finally like stands up for herself, and they beat the fuck. Like it is.
And they're calling her like a whore and a
How did
slut
they
and all this
do it?
stuff.
Like some of that looked.
It
so
looked
real.
bad.
Yeah.
Like,
They were definitely.
they're calling it like fat pig and stuff. So they're saying the shit that like women hear.
Well, and again, it's
shit,
the kind of shit that you see women get on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Just bringing it back to current creator times and stuff too.
Right.
You know.
Oh shit, that actually does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's what I saw out of it.
A lot that does happen a lot too, or like girlfriends of artists and stuff.
You'll see some movie star that
on.
has a girlfriend that looks like a normal person, and people are like, oh, she's fat.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go near her. She's too fucking fat for me.
Yeah,
just horrible shit.
But that was hard to watch.
That beating is just awful, extremely hard to watch, and very, very convincing. And two, one of the other special effects kind of gore shots I thought was insane is like, there's one of those like SWAT team guys that busts in, and he's like, oh, we're gonna take you away, whatever. And he gets like the whole top half of his head blown off.
Oh yeah,
that was crazy.
That was jarring and brutal. Kind of reminded me of the kind of violence that you see in like Drive or History of Violence, where you're not expecting it, so it just really pulls the rug out from under you. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. Darren Aronofsky said there was more effects in this movie than in Noah.
Really?
What?
Like count wise, yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
That is interesting.
What do you guys think about the soundtrack or lack thereof?
Man, I like that it was silent most
I
of
didn't
it.
notice it the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we should point out that there was like Johannes Johansson made a soundtrack for it.
That's news to me. That's
completely
wild
soundtrack, wonderful score that Aronofsky loved, he liked, and they both agreed that it shouldn't be in the movie.
I think he was just feeling some of that creator guilt that I was feeling while I was watching the movie.
He watched
like,
the movie. He was like,
you know what?
Fuck, take my music out.
Yeah, he's like, I think I'd be better off if I just
Honey,
wasn't
let's
here,
go
guys.
to dinner or something.
I'm sorry.
How are you?
One of the reasons why I think this is such a cool movie, even though I'll never watch it again, like Darren Aronofsky is kind of hidden behind soundtracks for a while. Like, he definitely uses it to.
Well, when I think of Requiem for a Dream, I hear bam, 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 bam. Yeah, exactly. That's all I think about.
Black Swan.
Soundtrack. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I feel like he really kind of made himself a little more vulnerable than normal by just having this silent soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then I also read that, like, even the noises that the house makes is actually sounds from Jennifer Lawrence that they
bizarre.
messed around with or something.
That's real interesting.
I didn't look into it too much, but I thought that was really neat.
You're talking about all the like creaks and groans.
Yeah.
And
The creaks of the house, I guess, was her
weird.
somehow.
So if that's her, and the house does have a heartbeat, and we know that when she burns, her heart is a crystal, and he says, "I am I," which means I am God.
Yeah.
You were home, meaning you were the house. Like all this keeps fucking swimming in my head because it's like each one of these ideas could fit into some mold, but not one of them is exactly right.
I feel like that is religion and life and everything that has to do with like planet Earth and global warming. Like everything is freaking connected, not to sound like, you know.
No, you're right. And it's all about
Space Cadet.
Yeah, it's all about, it leaves it up to interpretation, and there's so many possible interpretations.
There's like a million explanations for everything in the movie, but I do not understand the yellow stuff she's taking.
Come on. Okay,
No.
that's one of those things
It's weird.
I don't get. She periodically puts this like yellow effervescent powder in water and drinks it, but after she's pregnant, she puts it all in a turlet and flushes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently...
Why? Well, and apparently too, like this is one of those things which again, it's frustrating. After Aronofsky said what the whole movie is about, he also said that he will basically go to his grave never telling anybody what the yellow powder was about.
Really?
Yes. He
I didn't-
like somebody asked him about it, and he specifically said, "I will keep that a
I
secret."
think he just forgot to edit it out.
No shit, right?
I'll tell you. He told me.
He told you about
it?
Ew.
It's that stuff from Pulp Fiction when they opened
It's
up
what's
the
in the
briefcase.
suitcase.
That's
Now it makes sense.
I do think though that I think it probably represents sunlight or starlight.
Yeah.
That it's because there's an idea in Jewish mysticism that the feminine is a reflection, like the moon. Like the feminine is the moon reflecting the sun. So a woman is like reflecting this glory from another. So anytime she starts to feel, and she only takes it when she feels like basically like the house is out of control, like she doesn't have control of the house, she starts to see it re-burning basically, then she runs and takes it, and then everything's okay again. So it's like she's re-ingesting this sunlight from God that reminds her of her role or her purpose or whatever, and then she's fine again.
If anything could have been left out.
That could have been.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That and that thing in
definitely
the
could've been.
toilet. What the fuck was
Yeah,
that?
the thing in the toilet.
It's an interesting movie, y'all. It's definitely an interesting one. And I mean, the
I
fact
feel
that
like as tired now, just talking about it,
Yeah.
as I do watching it.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
just-
it's exhausting to watch. It's exhausting to think about. It's one of those that like I can't imagine the next time I'm going to watch this movie. I think the next time I watch this movie will be to show this movie to someone. It's
Which
one of
is what
those.
Lindsay
one of
did.
those,
Yeah, exactly. That's how this whole thing
that'll
started.
be true for me too, because I'll be watching it with Emily before she hears this episode.
Well,
So
again-
like that's
Oh,
the only reason I
God.
can imagine doing it.
Maybe
'Cause-
that's again how this movie works as a hyper ultra meta movie. Is he goes through this whole thing, he burns it down, and then what does he do? He does it again with somebody else.
holy fuck,
This movie is just about you watching this movie. God fucking damn it!
damn it! I think
Yeah,
I think we just figured out why the critics hated it. Maybe they caught that pretty quickly. Maybe we took too long to get it. They were
might
just
be
like,
that.
"So the movie's about me watching the movie. Cool."
got it. You guys got any closing thoughts about it before we rate this thing up?
I feel like I mean, you could talk about it forever and ever and ever,
Yeah,
and
definitely one of
not
those.
really get anywhere. Honestly, like I feel like seriously, the movie again. This is fucking stupid meta shit that's really starting to hurt my brain. Where we have talked about this movie, we've gone through all the fucking chaos to just be back at the point where we wake up in the bed and say, "Baby." Like we're all just back at that fucking point. Like we didn't
Right.
go anywhere.
Right.
It is the cycle of the movie.
Yeah.
We're back at the beginning.
Circle of life.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it.
Birth, life, death,
Repeat.
Yep.
fate.
I feel fortunate to have watched this in a perspective that I think a lot of people haven't. I mean, I think to a lot of people that watch this movie, and either be very confused or just be about, be like, oh, it's about the Bible. That's a book for me.
Basic instructions before leaving Earth, brother.
Is that right? God, that's fucking stupid. That's funny. That's funny. But it's like I feel like me being a narcissistic asshole made this a much more interesting watch.
Don't be so mean to yourself.
I can't help it. I just can't help it.
My country boner
It
won't go down. It won't go down.
It won't go down. It had to work its way
down.
here. Pussy fur. It had to be in here. I don't know. I understand people not liking this movie, but for me, it connected with me on a lot of levels that I had never really seen represented in any movie before. So I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. If I'm gonna toss this thing a 1 to 10, I think I would probably say I'm gonna say a solid 8. It's extremely well made,
Okay.
but just the lack
think
of
it's good.
I want to see it again soon
Right.
keeps it from being like a 10. I think it's an 8. Again, I know I'm in the minority there. Most people hate this fucking movie.
They do, yeah.
Yeah. What you say, girl?
Well, I haven't really rated anything before, but I would say, yeah, 7 or
Seven?
8, just because
Yeah.
you can tell how much hard work was put into
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie. And I feel like everyone gave it their all.
They really did,
Absolutely
yeah.
so.
I love a passion project.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. 3 months of rehearsal before this movie was
Good
even
God.
shot.
Incredible.
And that is not a
When
thing
does
you
that
do
happen?
with movies very often, yeah.
No.
So yeah, passion project. I love the same things. Like I love that he put so much of himself into it. I love that Jennifer Lawrence gave so much. Like it's just people giving their all. Maybe in the end it doesn't have as deep a meaning as they want it to, or maybe in the end it has so much of a deep meaning that we still haven't even touched it.
Right.
Either way, it's a well-shot movie. Looks good. I enjoy it. I'm going to go between you guys 7.5.
7.5. Overall, I do recommend. I look forward to hearing what our dead and lovely listeners have to say about this. Be sure to let us know on the Facebook group or the Discord group or the YouTube comments if you're listening to this on the YouTube. Just wherever you can let us know what you think, please do. And be sure to rate and review on iTunes. It just takes a second, but my Lord have mercy, does it ever help us out a lot. Go on there, rate and review. It just takes you about 5 seconds to do, and you get hours upon hours of podcast and enjoyment.
That's true.
Afterwards.
I've heard
Steve,
of it.
where can they follow us on social media?
Dead Lovely Pod on Twitter and Instagram. We have a Facebook group, Dead and Lovely Horror Movie Podcast
we
group.
do.
We also have a Gmail, deadandlovelypod@gmail.com. And we have a Discord that, at this point, I believe we have already initiated our Patreon. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, get on that Discord.
You can talk to us directly if you just pay a little monies. Yay! I'd like to thank Lindsay, Mother of the Year,
That's true.
for being on this show. Thank you so much for being a guest. I hope it's not the last time. I really enjoy having a female perspective on the show. We're just a bunch of penoses
It's been a blast.
on here,
Yeah.
just
Thank
sword
you guys
fighting.
so much for having me.
No, the
Even though it's
pleasure
so
is
past
ours.
my bedtime.
Yeah.
Oh, about time to go to bed. About time to go to bed. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being here, Lindsay. And you guys are the fucking best. Be sure to tune in next week. We're going to be covering one by request for the good old notorious RDM,
That's
Roger
him.
Dean Miller. That guy has given us so many beers over the course of our show and just been such a super handsome
He's our homeboy,
dude.
yeah.
He's our number one homeboy, and he put in a request that we cover Frontiers.
Yeah. And he did disclaim this by saying it's not a great movie.
Cool.
So if anybody out there is like, fuck Frontiers and fuck Roger Miller, no, he just wanted us to watch it.
So that's what we're gonna do. I've never seen it before. You ever seen it?
No. Oh, yeah. He
Yeah?
had me watch it. It was on Shudder before. It reminded me of like a French Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, like, I don't know.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that one.
Who's the guy in it?
In Frontiers?
Is that my number one?
No,
Name?
no, you wouldn't know
Jean-Claude
anybody in
Van
it, I don't
Damme.
think.
No, never mind.
Okay, it's not
No.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's from Belgium.
Is this the guy from Nashville also?
Oh, Roger D.
Yes.
Miller? Yeah.
I
Yes.
met him.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, you met the notorious
Oh,
RDM.
cool.
Yeah, that's right. He was there hanging out pretentious with us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Roger's the man.
He's
real
just a
fun.
good old boy.
Never meaning no harm.
Looks like them Duke boys is at it again.
All right.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Dead and Lovely. You guys have been fantastic. We have been Ben
And Steve.
And Lindsay.
Oh, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.